Hi, welcome everybody. This is Last Epoch, and I'm joined today in an exclusive first look on Last Epoch's multiplayer. Now, I do want to give a quick warning that this is beta gameplay, it's actually alpha gameplay, I believe, for the multiplayer. It is very, very early, usually under an NDA, but they have graced us today with not only joining me for multiplayer by the CEO and the developers, but also letting us stream this and showing. We have a bunch of questions that we've already asked through my Discord and through the Last Epoch Reddit post, and I've given the devs the questions already so they can prepare good answers, and we will be taking live questions as well. And I figured we could start out with all of you introducing yourselves, telling them what you do on the game. So, Mike, if you want to start.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a senior developer at 11th Hour Games, and I spend a lot of time working with skills, developing and designing those, and also hooking up UI stuff. I do a lot of that as well.
Awesome. All right, Jed.
Well, I am the CEO and game director of Last Epoch, founder of 11th Hour Games. I touch a little bit of absolutely everything, and in conjunction with growing this studio from a much smaller team to the size that it is right now.
Very nice. Stansfar.
Hi, I'm Stanzor. I have led the production and release of the game for a number of years. I also am trying to head up leading the design of our game content, high level systems, and all of that. I carry around a mop professionally.
Very nice. Very nice. And for those that aren't familiar with me, I'm Zizaran. I primarily play ARPGs, and I've been playing Last Epoch since very early 2018. Somebody called me not an OG, and it hurt my feelings.
You've been around for a long time.
I know, I'm so old. But yeah, we are today going to do a first look at Last Epoch multiplayer, and hopefully everybody in chat can be very generous with. We're probably gonna see a lot of bugs, so just want to make sure everybody knows that this is early alpha multiplayer, and we have a lot of questions we can ask here. So do you all just want to come to my instance? Who are we missing?
I
I
am
think
portaling to you right now.
Awesome. Wow, that's so cool. So that's like we can like literally from the start. We don't even have to. Let's see. So what are we all playing? I'm a druid, primalist.
Yep, I'm playing
gonna.
a Primalist too. I'm probably going to go Thorn Totem. We recently updated our totem models, so I'm pretty excited to check those out.
Nice.
I like lightning. I'm going to shoot lightning, and I haven't thought much beyond that.
All
I'm
right.
I'm playing a rogue. I'm gonna dash around and play probably a blade dancer if we get that far.
You just want to be OP. I see how it is.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get moving. And we have a bunch of questions we're gonna go through. We will also I'll call it out on stream when we're gonna take like live questions. We have a lot of time actually that we can do this for. So we're just gonna be this is gonna be a little bit different than what you've normally seen with like devs and stuff. Because we're playing the game at the same time. So we'll take questions and answer questions as we're playing. Um
I'm definitely gonna die doing that, but
yeah, that's why we went softcore.
that's
So
that's definitely why. Yes.
and I have given them like questions to read through and stuff already. So we have good answers for things. So first, before I start with the questions on the sheet, what happens with loot? Do we each generate our own loot? What happens if I drop loot? Can you see it?
So all loot is individual. So when you see loot on the ground, it is for you and you only.
And what happens if I drop loot?
You will still be the only one to see that loot.
And is that a temporary thing or something that's like staying?
There's going to be a lot of questions around trading today, and
Yeah.
we're probably not going to dive too deep into our trading system and how loot will be exchanged between players, because we want to make sure that we take a step back and put all that in writing and make sure that you guys have all the reasoning and understanding. And we're also still testing these things, so we're actually going to be implementing our first trade system inside of our CT test here in the very near future to get feedback on.
Okay, cool. So this isn't necessarily the permanent system and how things are going to be. Oh, wait, are these always unique? I never remember. Did you guys all get unique?
No, that's just you.
No,
Oh,
that is
Congrats.
RNG on your side.
oh, nice. Streamer RNG already. Excellent. I was like,
I got a magic item.
so I know
with
there's a
one
guarantee unique from a quest early on, but I couldn't remember if that got moved.
We haven't activated the streamer RNG button.
Okay, cool. So I will, while we're playing, start off with the questions because the people are curious about a lot of things, so we have a lot of things to get through here. So first is a question from Kev. With Diablo 3 being a 10 and Grim Dawn being a 1 in terms of pace, what pace do you want Last Epoch to be in terms of gameplay?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, we definitely want some enemies that you encounter in the world to be worth your effort, take a moment, pose risk and challenges to you, and not just have it so that your character ignores all enemy mods and blitzing through every screen. If I had to give a number here, I'd probably pin it somewhere right at 5 or somewhere close to the middle.
Right. And then for XP, are we all leveling at the exact same time? Like, did we all just hit 3?
If we're roughly a screen or two or 3 screens away or so, it should be pretty similar.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, it seems really smooth so far. Haven't seen any massive teleporting or anything.
Now that you've
Apparently
said
the game
something.
wants-
Oh, now you
apparently the game wants me to be
teleported.
a marksman, so I just dropped a unique bow, so I guess I'm going to marksman.
Oh, cool. So, what is going to happen in terms of enemies getting stronger? Like, how much stronger are enemies getting right now?
So what we're planning on doing here is having it so that enemies scale health and not damage, because we don't want it so that whenever you're getting into a party, if you're a squishy mage in the back line, that anything, it just obliterates you immediately if you pair up with the party. We don't want that to be punishing. However, we do want it so that enemies scale health so that it does take an appropriate amount of time to get through zones.
Yeah. That makes sense. Also, I just realized something as well. I'm guessing all of you are in North America.
That's right.
We are, yes.
How,
we have 2 in Canada and 1 here in Texas.
So how does that work? What server are we on right now? Is this my server?
Yours.
Yeah, yours. Because
Okay.
we joined you.
So it's a little laggy for you guys then.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But you're the one streaming, so we figured it was better that way.
I like it. Let's see. Kev had another question, which is, with multiplayer, how long is Last Epoch going to deal with the ease of access to gear? There are criticisms of the trade system of Path of Exile, where everything is untradeable, and Diablo 3 with nothing being tradable. What are long and short-term plans in relation to trading gear and other things like crafting materials?
For sure. So we're mindful of how our systems up to this point have been created to enable a great solo experience, with a monolith giving an amount of target farming paired with our directed crafting system. Gear drops in multiplayer will be individual, and a core goal for trade and Epoch is to ensure that it does not significantly take over progression from those systems. Again, when it comes to trade, we'll be trialing a version of trade coming in the coming weeks in our CT program that we hope to get good feedback on.
Cool. It's going to be a hard problem to solve. It must be interesting, entering a genre that has so many other games in it as well.
Oh, absolutely. And trade is so incredibly important to how progression in these games come about. And we completely understand the implications that implementing any type of trade inside of these games have. And we're approaching that very carefully and thoughtfully with all of the experience from the other games in the genre before us.
Yeah, you gotta you're hung right now.
Do I have to restart?
Good time. Yeah, yes, sir.
Sad.
Yeah, a lot of the time talking about trade, we recognize breaking down all of the problems that other games had made numerous attempts at systems, and we kind of had history to understand it.
So, do you guys all have to go back to me now, or?
We can still continue ourselves without you, but we can just reinvite you and join where you're at. So it's pretty seamless to just reconnect to you.
I don't think I hit a checkpoint yet, so I'm all the way back.
Ooh.
I'm
You should
leveled
be able
though.
to portal to us as well.
Yeah, we'll invite you. You can just portal to
Yeah,
us.
that seems better. Check me an invite whenever. How many people can be in one party?
4 players.
And is that what you're going with, or is that a temporary thing?
That is currently what we're proceeding with, yes. And actually, Mike or Dan, I think one of you guys probably became the party leader when that happened.
That's okay. We all disbanded. We'll just remake the group.
Okay. I'll send some invites.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just let me know who to teleport to. So we don't have to redo it all. We're power farming the first zone.
Yep. Target farming for our first. Right when you enter the game.
I'll teleport to Jen. Oh.
I believe I'm the farthest right now.
Oh.
Let's see.
Because you ran off on me. Where are you? Get back here, boy.
I'm about to die.
See, you're not in the group yet, right?
I got you.
All right, let's do this.
All right. I'm on my way. So wait, can you use my portal? Like, do you see it?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yet, having portals not really bound to currency. You know, we have a lot more freedom to choose what we want to do.
Yeah. All right. It's pretty smooth to like teleport between instances.
Yeah, it's really kind of our biggest philosophy for multiplayer is just to make sure that people have an easy time to play together. That's really just our number one consideration when we put it all together.
That's awesome. I think that is a good way to go. I think
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions will point out certain things like, you know, people are probably thinking about in terms of how groups tend to behave in action RPGs. But for us, the most important problem to solve was definitely just making sure that it's super easy to play together, and we'll figure out the rest after.
that's a good point to start. Renadifi is asking, I feel like most builds end up using 3 or 4 mandatory skills, and the only differentiating factor is often the main damage ability. Do you think we could use a few more utility skills for each class, or is the current state of utility skills good as is?
Yeah, I can answer that one. I think that there's definitely room for more, and I think there's a lot of classes that this as a problem stands out in a lot more than some other ones, and those are the ones that generally don't have their third mastery yet or are missing some skills in their like their base class.
Mhm.
So like Rogue has the fewest skills right now, and that one's probably missing the most variance in utility skills that it has access to. We've really been trying to relook at how utility skills come into the game, and like if you're adding them through like turning a not utility skill into a utility skill in the skill tree, and also like so Rune Master is going to bring in a lot of utility variants for Mage. So Mage is also a big one that probably shows up a lot with this
Yeah.
the example for this question.
Wait, did we lose Judd?
Yeah, I'm sending a message right now. Let's see, one of you guys should be the lead of the party. If somebody can invite me back here.
How do we? Oh,
Yes,
that's me.
Right.
How do I
So,
invite?
If you press H, that will bring up your social panel. You may not have me added as a friend yet, so
I have
to do
no
that,
friends.
you'll go down to dang it. What you'll do is you go down to that button that says add friend, and then I am MoxJet200. And if you add friend there, you'll see me pop up. You'll right click on my name and just do invite to party.
Awesome.
We are having a complete overhaul to this social panel as well, which makes it act and look much nicer, by the way. We have a pull request ready to bring that in, so very excited about that, but it's not here in this build.
All
yeah,
right,
that's
I
literally
invited
what
you.
I'm working on this week.
Nice.
Nice. Here, when you get here, I want to see what you leaf slamming looks like for me.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, what you're probably seeing is sometimes when you go and you leap slam, if you're not actually going to travel to the target location, if there's an issue on the client side, so locally you'll see the animation start, but you won't actually fling through the air. So that's one of the issues that we have to resolve here in the next couple weeks.
Cool.
You can portal to me. I had to stop myself from automatically zooming.
Speed running. See, oh, we have a big question. From Dried Chicken. What do you think about gear upgrades? I feel like items other than build enabling uniques have too little impact on survivability and damage. You deal similar damage naked and fully geared, and the huge damage multipliers come from skill trees. Due to this, you cap out fast, and the urge to min-max is not as strong as it could be.
Yeah, that one's a really interesting question, and anyone who kind of knows our community too, there's a popular video by McFluffin about gear in our game, and for us, we definitely want to shift some power from passive trees and onto items again. We want to kind of consolidate some item modifiers so they're offered in a fewer spots. We don't want to aim for gear to be as high proportion of your total power and build customization as other games though. So some of that is actually quite intended, but we certainly do want to pull more power into gear than the current state it's in.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things whenever I'm telling people about Last Epoch compared to other games, or especially compared to Path of Exile, is that it's a lot friendlier to respec, and like fucking up a build isn't as punishing as it is in PoE. It's like in PoE you're forced to watch a build guide. Like I don't have a guide open right now. I don't really have a plan, and I can just plan as I go.
Yeah, that was very intentional when setting up the system.
Yeah, it's something like I personally love as a player of action RPGs to be able to kind of just sit there myself and tool out a build and not feel like it was a total failure. So we definitely love that philosophy, but we still need to make further adjustments to give a little bit more power into gear.
Yeah. Oh, and for the server right now, am I hosting it or is this a server hosting like in Europe somewhere?
This is fully server authoritative, so this is hosted in a data center. So you are not the host, so you can't have any kind of control or power over the server.
Okay, cool. I can't like cheat in a Herald of the Scurry.
That's correct. Yep.
That's right. If you ask
we could
us
build
really
a tool.
nicely.
Nah, we'll find what we find. I have one in real life, right to my left.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
We don't need one then. Canceling that dev tool.
Oh no.
Faye has gone on to create some really, really awesome cosplay items since that point as well.
That's very cool. Yeah, I love stuff like that. Yeah, for those that are watching and don't know, I have designed a unique in Last Epoch, which turns all your wolves into squirrels. What about server locations? Are you... where are currently server locations?
We have a large list of that. Just a sec. The amount of areas we're in Australia, Southeast America, Australia West, Asia Southeast and Northeast, all US locations, Canadian locations, EU West, EU East, and potentially South Africa. Judd requested me to sing that in the Animaniacs song, but I was not able to do it.
You guys remember that, the Animaniacs song where they go through all the states? Probably not because you're not in the States, but...
No, we got that up here.
Did you?
Yeah, we did actually.
I have
There's probably at least 5 people in chat who know
I
that.
can still remember it.
So yeah, we're basically as many places as possible. So.
Oh. So, what happens if like you talk to a quest in the next area? Will that still be there for me, or can I end up getting like soft locked out?
Sorry, I guess. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just saying we treat the sort of the zone as a whole quest state, and as you enter, if you enter a zone that's already had quests advanced in that zone, it sort of automatically brings you up to speed with it, and it also, there's less lockouts for like quest requirements. So if you are you can kind of hop in and hop out of the quest chains pretty freely. So you almost never get locked out of things. There's a few bugs still that that don't flow as smooth as we'd like to yet, but we really try and make it not something you need to worry about. It just kind of
Right.
works. It's pretty friendly.
Oh, I wasn't 100% sure if I heard it when you were listing servers, but is South Africa one of the places you have a server for?
Potentially, yes. We are investigating South Africa as well.
Awesome. I know they always get forgotten about. Right. Let's see. This is another question from Dried Chicken. The current endgame monolith is purely objective based. In this state, multiplayer meta is going to be playing the fastest build, rushing as many objectives while killing the least amount of enemies necessary by ignoring them and running past them, opposed to something like in Path of Exile where you need to kill enemies to get Macros to progress. Killing enemies in Monolith should feel rewarding or at least boost the final objective reward in some way. Is that something
I'm
that's planned to change?
I'm glad you asked that question right around me being in a town. Yeah, so I mean, as a goal, we don't really want to encourage players to fully clear echoes or zones in general. Without the movement of PoE, we don't think this is much of an enjoyable experience to compare them. And kind of going through the whole of each zone should be more of a sense of discovery and have an increased variety in the experience for us. We do want to encourage players to kind of explore more and kill enemies on their way to the objectives. We have some ways that we're currently doing this. So, I mean, like, there's recently we implemented a bonus to stability that was added in our last patches. There's the regular monolith reward chest, which actually scales with the number of enemies slain now. We're really happy with those changes at the moment, but we do have some additional objectives to kind of just increase the incentive for killing enemies and echoes and not just rushing. One of them being we want to kind of add more objective types that are closely tied to killing enemies. We want to improve the loot from rare monsters in general and kind of just clearly tell players and telegraph the importance of killing them for gaining dungeon keys and other important drops for endgame. And we also plan on adding just more random events and things to do in Echo. So we want exciting things to kind of just pop up as you're playing. Hopefully, kind of incentivizing you to continue pace in the zone rather than just moving on as fast as possible.
Awesome. No, that's good. That sounds really good because, yeah, right now, even I was just rushing through.
Yeah, and I mean, some of that we're probably going to do as we crush things running through the campaign together. So.
Yeah. Right. Hollow 30k is asking, what is the reason behind locking bows to the rogue class? Ranged attack are such a fundamental archetype to RPGs, even if it's super cool that throwing is actually a thing in this game, even if it needs work.
Yeah, so when we initially were putting bows into the game, it was a bit of a limitation we had on our animation pipeline and just the resources we had to get it in as quickly as possible and the timing of it. So we stuck it on one character only that was the most thematic, and it helped us get that done faster, which is really good. And we certainly we have a lot of conversations about expanding that up into other classes. We really enjoyed how throwing has come about as a ranged, like a physicality ranged of a thing that's not a spell for a lot of other classes as well. But it's something that we are looking at expanding down the road. So we're not. It's not set in stone forever, but we're not ready to expand it yet.
Makes sense. Man, I love summons in this game. I really love the minion AI with even just having things like holding A down to make your minions run after things. Also, where are you guys?
And someone asked a question a little bit later about the AI too, and we've actually made a ton of improvements to all pet AI. We've actually implemented that across almost every pet class at this point. We have more to do, but yeah, we'll come to you.
Can I unbind the minion thing? There is it. Like, I'm pretty sure I can make my minion move.
The pressing A to have your minion target an enemy right now isn't working in the multiplayer build. It's just one of the issues that we have to correct.
Right. I usually play summoner. That's usually a good thing.
Yeah.
Just noticed it wasn't working. Sad.
Yeah, there's some additional minion improvements that we want to make in terms of how they pursue enemies, how they follow the character. We can do things like take character positioning into account more than we're doing right now, which should have them engage more quickly.
Right.
So those are all things that we're discussing and hopefully going to implement before 1.0. They come up quite often. But
Yeah.
yes, the minion improvements that we have made that people often point to the wolves, those have been extrapolated largely, and they are feeling quite a bit better if people here have not played Epoch in a year or so.
Yeah, I think that is probably my favorite thing about Last Epoch. Because I remember the very first time it was like I think it was Judd and Leroy messaged me and asked if I wanted to try Last Epoch. And it was very bad.
That sounds right.
It was these void forms, they were like 8 polygons. It was very ugly.
8 is very
And
generous.
yeah, yeah. And I remember I got stuck on like a 15-minute loading screen. I can't remember where it
Oh
was.
yeah, oh yeah.
And
So the good old days.
what I love about it is just how much the game has progressed since then. It just every time I come back to the game, it's just very clearly improving. And I've told this story quite a lot, but I want to tell it again because for those that don't know, I think this was in 2019. Last Epoch sponsored me to play, I think it was 10 hours to play on my stream as advertisement. And I always reach out to devs when sponsorship is happening and ask them, can I say negative things about the game or can I say whatever I want about the game? Because a lot of companies just want advertisement. They don't want feedback. They don't want negative impressions. And to this day, Judd had the best answer of any dev ever because he said, Ziz, you can drag our game on your stream, shit talk it as much as if you want, because if something's wrong with it, we want to know about it to fix it. That's to this day the best answer, or yeah, to that question I've ever had.
It's all downhill from there.
That's absolutely still the case. You know, getting critical feedback is how we improve the game. We want to hear from people in the community what they feel is not living up to their expectations with the game, and that gives us that generally helps us define our targets much more clearly than if we're doing it in isolation.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely part of what sold Last Epoch to me.
It's funny because we've grown quite a lot since those earlier days back when 2017 Epoch started off as we say a passion project, which was me going out on Reddit and finding people who just absolutely were obsessed with action RPGs and saying, hey, I want to make an ARPG. I have some cool ideas that I'd like to pursue. We have no budget. We have less experience, but we really want to make it happen. Who wants to join us? And then we had a number of folks join us, some for a temporary amount of time, but we still actually have quite a lot of those people that joined us in the early days when there were no funding, no money in circulation. It was just let's boot up a game engine. We were using store assets and stuff like that to get the baseline set up and everything. And we've gone from this completely unfunded studio with 5 people working in after hours when they're coming back from their regular jobs to now we have a studio of over 80 people that are working with us full time
That's
around the
crazy.
world. So yeah, it's really been fantastic to see the love that the community has given us and the resources that that's provided us and how we've been able to scale. But because of that, there are so many things that we have to go back and I guess we don't have to, but we want to go back and rework these things because now that we have so much more talent and so much more bandwidth, we go and look at the stuff that we created in 2017, 2018, 2019, and we're like, oh my goodness, to get this to the quality level that we want to get to really be competitive in this space, we need to improve these things drastically. And so leading up to 1.0, there still is a lot of updating, going back and fixing a number of things before we get to the point where we're just completely looking forward. And 1.0 will be our big kickoff point to where we say, hey, this game is in the state that we are comfortable with saying that it is a 1.0 version. And again, that's just kickoff.
That's awesome. And you guys have something kind of special that a lot of development companies don't, which is, you mentioned it already, but you guys are all fully remote. You don't have an actual office. So I remember you guys said that COVID affected you a lot less than a lot of other studios.
Yeah,
As a studio, it definitely affected us a lot less. There were definitely individuals on the team that it affected
Yeah.
significantly, and we did feel some pressure and a little bit of loss from things like that. But in general, it didn't upend our operations to the degree that it did a lot of studios. And, some of the benefits of us being fully remote is we can hire people like Carve. We're not just in the U.S. in Texas where we have to hire locals here. We can go and find people that are just die-hard action RPG enthusiasts and bring them in without any issues whatsoever.
That's awesome. That's great. That's a
yeah.
good
I think a
pickup.
big challenge too is that a lot of game studios, they had difficulties making games moving to a remote model where we've known nothing different. It's all we've ever known, so everything we've built has always been to support that environment. So
Yeah.
we'll always be flexible like that.
Hey there, want to try your luck?
So your team has grown quite a lot. 80 people. Like, are you actively hiring people, or like what's the
Constantly.
status?
Absolutely. We're still hiring people. We actually, if you go to 11thhour.games, we have positions listed there. We actually need to update that because there's a number of positions that we're hiring that aren't listed there quite yet. 80 sounds like a large number, but that's mainly because we have a lot of departments that a lot of studios would typically outsource. We keep
Right.
them internal. So all of our art pipeline is internal. All of the music and sound production is internal. So a lot of those things that people have, dozens or hundreds of other people in other studios working on for them, we're just keeping in house.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh, and I can't remember if I mentioned this at the start of the stream. I should have said this is not a sponsored stream. This is actually me pestering them into doing it, which they graciously agreed to do, which I'm very happy with. I'm very excited to finally be playing Last Epoch multiplayer.
It's been a long road.
Us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very happy to be playing it after all this time.
So I guess it must be very, very difficult adding multiplayer later instead of initially.
Yeah, there's for sure. There's definitely a lot of challenges to trying to build the tracks behind you as you kept going. For us, we as Judd was saying, we were very modest beginning. Not a ton of budget at the start, not a ton to kind of keep us running. So really, the most important thing we could have done was get Last Epoch out to players, start getting feedback, start improving the game, which brought more people. It let us enact, more changes to feedback, which improved the game and kind of let us actually finally start being able to afford building the multiplayer part. It's not ideal if you had all of the budget in the world to make a game from day one, but we didn't, so we're really happy of, just the kind of path we had to take, even though it was a little bit twisty-turny in the process.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of it, but yeah.
So I am not really able to see this part, so I'm just gonna have to take your word for it. But how does things like ping affect it for you guys now? Like in terms of, I'm trying to think of how I want to ask this question, because obviously in Path of Exile we have lockstep and predictive. How does Last Epoch go in terms of things like desync and things like that?
So right now we will start. That's a great example of something that a game like that has had 10 years to kind of engineer solutions to. For us, we're going to be starting with kind of a predictive model. So everything we do at the beginning to improve experience will be predictive. And I'm sure players are thinking about things like desync. These are things we are aware about. So up front, we do want to make sure the predictive system feels great. We're making sure that we have a huge variety of available data centers for players to access to kind of reduce any accentuation of those problems. And then as the game gets past launch and we have more time to focus on continuously improving those systems, you'll see us try to get closer to some of the technology that games like Path of Exile have.
So potentially early on, multiplayer might be riskier for hardcore then.
There's definitely an element of that in the predictive system for sure. There's definitely might as well be honest in that regard.
Yeah, I think honesty is always the best policy.
We're also not quite. It's kind of halfway between PoE's two systems right now. We're not fully predictive. We're not fully lockstep. It's not quite analogous to either one of them, the way we've set it up.
Now, guys, if we enter the scene before Ziz does, it'll allocate the server to us, and then he can experience what that's like, right? Being on the other end.
No, it will keep us where we were as we're going.
I see.
I think I crashed
It
again.
defaults to like stay where you were type thing.
Yes, you did.
I think it's when I alt tab to scroll down for more questions.
Yeah, we've actually noticed that. We actually have that recorded specifically tied around alt tabbing. So
It specifically is a problem alt tabbing when loading, I think.
Yeah, I'll try to alt tab to scroll down for questions while I'm in before loading.
you're the lead, Mike.
Am I? Oh.
Magic2424 is asking, how is Monolith planned to be adapted to multiplayer?
Yeah, so we're trying to keep that as like seamless and feel as similar to single player as possible. Trying to keep it so that you're not needing to like game the system with each other. Just to make it easy, really. In every we can, just so that and we're trying to avoid exploits when we can. So the way it's going to work is when you complete an echo without leaving or dying, you will receive the echo specific reward, even if you're not like the owner or the person who started or the party leader. All players get the stability for that echo in their monolith progression and like moving their timeline along. And then when you complete the last echo of the timeline, it will give you the like unlocking the next monolith timeline. It will give you a blessing. Everyone gets all those things. All the rewards are for everyone, so everyone gets everything.
Very nice. So how is this going to work with things like boosting and XP penalties? Like, for example, say my friend Steelmage is level 95. I come in with a level 15 character. Will I be getting insane XP and he can boost me up to level 60 real quick?
We're going to stick with the same experience penalty, air quotes penalty, that we have in single player right now. So you'll gain experience as though you were in a level 20 zone. So you can go to further zones with you can just portal to him and he'll carry you through hard stuff and you level really fast, but it won't be light speed.
Okay. Cool. So boosting will be possible then.
Yes. But it'll be a scaled boost, so it won't be quite like the 30-second leveling process of Diablo 3, for example.
Good. That sounds pretty healthy. Uncooked and Limp is asking, when can we expect the missing classes to be finished?
We're planning on adding all 3 new masteries by the release for 1.0. So right now we're trying to kind of prioritize working on those with all of these complicated technical things that we still have to polish and improve. So we're currently juggling the balance and design of those up until release. So between the open beta and release, you should see us starting to implement the last remaining masteries. We've actually already gotten a pretty really clear vision of what we're going to do for the Rune Master. We've already kind of designed. Yeah. Oh, hey, yes. There's the magic word. We definitely have kind of come together, talked about the Rune Master, figured out what we want to do, and we're going to be putting that together as we approach open beta and up to 1.0.
Alright.
You're still thinking about the
I'm
word
still thinking about the vision. This is a scary word to use. Don't want to use that word. Sorry, I refunded my purchase. Oh, it's funny. Okay, so this isn't, at least it's not one of the next questions, but let's talk some timelines. Do you have any rough, like, timeline as opposed to, like, when multiplayer is going to be available for everybody, when we're going to see more people streaming it, and potential release dates? Are we looking for a year away, 2, 3?
Do you wanna? I'll let you dive into that. However much you want to answer that one.
So right now we're in the closed alpha process of testing this. We're adding a lot of players. We want to go to open beta when we feel it's ready to kind of open up, unlock the NDA, and let lots of players in and test themselves without like a controlled environment like this. Our release timelines still aren't out in the world, but we are trying to aim for an open beta this year if possible. So as you can see, we're getting pretty close at this point.
Yeah.
but I will avoid specific dates still for the time being.
That's all right.
We try to
I like
avoid
asking.
specific dates, this early on, because there's been a couple times where we've tripped up a little bit and we've had to push back release dates more than we had wanted to. So we're a little apprehensive to put release dates that are 4, 5, 6, 7 months out in front of people.
That makes sense. I mean, I think you only get one chance at a release date, and I think everybody here wants to see Last Epoch succeed. So it's good to get it right.
Yeah, I think for us, really what we've always kind of done since the beginning is realized, quality is going to be everything. We need a quality release. We need to improve the quality of the game, the quality of the game performance, the experience. So, I mean, that's really what we care about the most over everything, is to make sure that that release feels really great when it happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, it's. I'm very surprised. I was expecting a lot more bugs actually. So this is pretty good already. Oh yeah, Judge, can you leave some for me?
Oh yeah, here. Let's go over here into the open. Ready?
Oh, I see. Yeah, you did like half the leaf some and then you flickered. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's so cool though. Let's see. Troll Chef is asking, do they have plans for a 6th playable class? And if so, what would they imagine it being?
So right now we definitely have some things we've imagined for 6 classes. In the future that's something we would want to look at, but for the time being, the things we're really keen on doing are adding additional masteries post launch, and definitely just significantly upping the rate at which we output skills to increase build viability. So a 6th class is certainly something we're going to be thinking about in a post launch world, but adding to the build diversity of what already exists in the game is a place where we still have a lot of easy wins there that we have a lot of ideas ready for.
Yeah.
You guys look closely, you might see some missing archetypes, and if you see them, we see them.
Yeah, I guess. So what is the next upcoming like, is Falconeer the next one that's coming? Or
So
Warlock?
the remaining 3 are the Rune Master, the Falconer, and the Warlock. So those are the 3
Which one's
masters
coming
each.
next?
It will depend. We have started our ideation process on the Rune Master first, so it's probably reasonable to say that we will complete that before the others. We've made more progress on the Warlock and the Falconer than the Rune Master, so we decided to start there.
Okay.
I'd be fine with giving a world first answer to that question if we'd like to, guys.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we will be releasing all 3 of those classes at the 1.0 release of the game
Oh, nice.
at the same time. So
Oh. Oh, very cool. I was gonna ask if you could pivot to do Falconeer first, because I personally love summons in this game. It's just so fun.
I'm super glad that you're excited about the Falconer, because that was actually something many years ago when Diablo 3 was not even announced. My cousin Kyle and I, who are obsessed with these types of games, actually submitted the idea of a Falconer to Diablo 3. And we had won BlizzCon tickets because they liked the suggestion so much.
Oh.
They didn't take it, but they liked it a whole lot. And so ever since then, when they didn't create the Falconer, I was like, I'm gonna make a Falconer. It's gonna be awesome. And and we're so close to getting there. We have the skills ideated. We have some mock-ups in the engine and stuff like that at this point, and really excited about that class.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I have to ask, is there going to be different types of birds or just one bird?
There's going to be one falcon that stays with you permanently. Oh, I don't know if I should be saying this. I'm going to say it. That's fine.
Yeah, you should.
There's going to be one falcon that stays with you permanently. There won't be different types of falcons, but we know that it will be a fan favorite for the MTX system in the future.
Oh, okay. So there won't be like, one falcon, 5 ravens.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
The ravens are primalist.
Yeah. I know. I was just hoping we would like get a lot of different types of birds.
it's still really early in the
Yeah.
development process for the Falconer, so I don't think we can. We
What
can't
if-
really say much about it because there's not a lot done with it. Really.
What if
I'm trying to
Ziz
not
made a
die
unique-
right now.
That's fair.
What if Ziz made a unique that turns the Falcon into a whole aviary?
Okay, most
Also, Chad
important.
said Toucaneer.
Toucaneer,
Most
yeah.
important question here that I want you guys to commit to. Ideally, just say yes to this. Can we name the Falcon?
I'm trying to think if it's like functional to do it or not.
No.
I'm sure Mike already has the list of randomly generated Falcon names that he would die if we said that we're just going to allow them to name them. I'm not going to commit to that one yet.
Okay.
Note taken though.
That's fair.
Nice try, Ziz.
I tried. I tried. Oh man. I just realized when you all release Falconeer and you sell a token skin, millionaires, billionaires. That'd be amazing.
We'll be able to get some more back-end engineers.
That'd be beautiful.
Greetings.
Let's see. Uncooked and Limp is asking, will the wolf AI be applied to all pets soon, or is this something better on the way?
So that was actually the case where we've applied that minion AI improvement to almost every
Awesome.
minion in the game now
Yeah.
already. So it's already done.
Oh.
It's a pretty easy answer. We have more, even there that we're doing. We have some experimental changes we have in mind, such as we're currently trying to experiment with ways to make pets match player speed in reasonable ways, and just ways that AI will interact with the player depending on what kind of pet they are, what the player's doing. So we are, while we've added a lot of those improvements, we're looking at adding even more, and we're experimenting for the time being.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. All right, let's go down.
As you're walking around and talking to some of these NPCs, you'll see a couple new things here as well. We have updated the dialogue system. We have character portraits coming for all NPCs that are custom. If you look closely, you'll notice that the font over our characters, and if you look at the dialogue system, the name of the NPCs that you're talking to are using a new font face, which is a custom font face developed specifically for Last Epoch by a guy named Mark Simonson, who famous guy who creates fonts. He works at a font foundry right now, but he's created fonts like Proxima Nova. If I have any UI nerds in chat, I come from a UI UX background, so I was very excited to be able to finally make a custom font for Last Epoch.
That's very cool. Spry is very excited right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can tell Judd loves this.
I really do.
That's awesome. Uncooked is asking again, will the monolith grind be adjusted or any way to compensate for it on alts?
So in multiplayer, just in general, you're going to have access to playing with friends, and that's going to give you opportunities to speed things up quite a lot. But if you really want to just stick with it solo, it is something that we are, I guess, observing feedback on closely. It's still not an entirely finished system, and we don't have like specific plans for like, okay, well, this is getting moved up, this is getting moved down, or anything like that. It's not set in stone.
Right.
I think the main call out is, we definitely recognize that, like, for well-geared alt, there's kind of a struggle in the middle of getting from content that you can steamroll to the content that's actually really challenging. So we're definitely mindful of that existing gap, and we want to keep observing that into the open beta process to see how it plays out.
Yeah. Especially like how much are you going to balance around like people that exclusively want to play solo self-found? Like what is going to be the intended way to play the game? Is it going to be multiplayer, solo self-found?
I'd say for
Hardcore?
us, I tried to caution people when they ask like what's our intended way to play, is we don't really want to try to design what we think is the way we want to force players to play. We've always kind of made things we enjoyed, made things based on our belief of like, we want a level of complexity that is accessible, and we let players kind of help us with feedback in terms of the direction to go there. So we do not have a directed vision regarding how we want that to play out. One thing that's important to call out, I think, is over the years we've very clearly been making a solo self-found supportive experience because we've been making an offline game, and we're very mindful of how to connect that into a multiplayer experience and kind of give that more legs as it goes online. So we are not picking a specific direction, and we'll do what feels good for the game.
The one game that has the
Okay,
vision and one game that doesn't. That's gonna be interesting.
I'll say that our internal team, the majority of us really do enjoy playing these games together, and so we're definitely keeping that in mind. But we definitely understand that there is going to be a large percentage of players that do want to play solo by themselves, and so all content in the game will be completable as a solo character. You won't have to group up for any type of content or anything like that.
Oh, so is there never going to be content that will require 2 or more people?
We are not planning to add content like that right now.
Okay.
All content you can experience with multiple players, but nothing required.
Okay. Cool. Uncooked is also asking, when can we start to expect microtransactions? I want to look pretty.
Fair question. So we're aiming for a minimum viable version of the MTX store for the open beta or the next patch being 0.9. It's important for us to release this so we can start to figure out what the community will enjoy and what you guys would like to see to support us. It will be important that we are selling these microtransactions because keeping games like this running is expensive. We're going to release a version of this in 0.9 to make sure that it is watertight and we get all the bugs out so that when we get to 1.0 that system is solid.
And will there ever be any
fairly soon.
And will there ever be any microtransactions that affect gameplay in Last Epoch?
There will not.
Nice.
Cosmetic only.
Cosmetic only. Nice.
Very hard stance.
Very hard stance.
So sometimes cosmetic can affect gameplay in terms of a skill being a lot more or less visible. How are you going to deal with that?
We're very aware of that problem, and we're doing a really kind of rigid quality review process overall, trying to understand those things as we make them, and we'll be very open to feedback about that if things land and if something becomes more readable. We'll find that that tends to be more of a problem in our base skills design than a problem with the MTX visual itself. So if we see things like that, we're definitely going to be mindful to look at improving the actual experience of the base skill.
Yeah, if we're talking about like visual clutter, that's something that we're actively targeting right now. Now that we're actually inside and play testing multiplayer multiple times a week as a team, we're able to see the things that are too visually noisy and need to be toned down. For example, everyone knows that I absolutely love playing a Meteor build.
Right.
Turns out that the targeting reticle on the ground for Meteor is too noisy, and so we're taking steps to say that only shows locally on the individual's client. That's not shown on other people's screen. And then anything else that we're seeing that is just too visually noisy, we're making sure to target and reduce as needed.
Very nice. I just dropped Pebbles' color, which is great since I'm going for minions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is it on the same client as us? Just want to put that out there.
That's funny. So I have a question. So obviously, especially for those in the audience that don't know, Last Epoch has in-game stash tabs. It's not like Path of Exile where you buy it for real life money. You buy stash tabs for gold in-game. Is this ever going to change in terms of will there ever be special stash tabs that you buy for money? Or will it always be tied to gaining it in-game?
It ties in with our hard stance on not selling convenience or power for money. The game does have a base cost, which allows us to bring all those quality of life improvements to the game without actually needing to charge for those. And so any type of UI, UX thing like that we add to the game will be free. Right now, we don't have plans to introduce specific types of stash tabs for individual types of items, as we do have a fairly robust system for stash tabs already, where you can change labels and colors and icons, and you have tab grouping and things like that. We actually took quite a bit of time to ideate how that could be implemented in a way that is very flexible. So for stash tabs specifically, we don't have current plans to expand upon that, but if we do find opportunities for increasing the user experience quality of life
Yeah.
in regards to stash tabs, we'll absolutely consider doing that.
Very cool.
Free.
That's a good answer. Free's good. I like free. How
Well,
many?
technically, you paid for it in the base game.
Yes, that is true.
That is true.
That is true. That's good. I personally am a big fan of that. And I don't know if your stance has changed on this, but at some point you guys talked about having a free demo to let people try the game out before playing it. Is that still the case?
So
Last
that
one
was
window.
that was a funny one. We had always intended to give a free demo of the game for free, so people could get like 10 levels under their belt, and understand that the game is awesome and that they should want to continue playing it. It's something that we always wanted to produce, but we've always had so much in front of us to produce that it always got backlogged. At the point that we are right now, it's still backlogged. It might be something that comes up in the future if we have the bandwidth to do so, but I wouldn't say that a demo for the game is coming soon by any means.
Right. Okay. So I'm kind of derailing the questions a little bit, but especially post-release, or maybe even before, if it's something you want to experiment with, how are you guys going to approach having leagues or seasons?
Sure.
Yeah.
I can talk to that a little bit. So right now we are looking at kind of exploring the concept of what a cycle will be for us. We don't have a ton of hard answers there yet on what we want to do. I don't think we want to completely imitate what the Path of Exile model is, and have like say a main interactable mechanic every cycle. We might do something different. We might add temporary game modes. We might add uncertainty into the kind of overall game loop of the game. But yeah, on the whole, we're certainly interested in adding cycles, but we want to kind of differentiate ourselves.
I'm hearing the word cycle a lot. Is that what we're going with? So it's going to be like a Path of
yes.
Exile League, a Diablo 3
Seasons,
season, a
leagues,
Last
that
Epoch
equals-
cycle.
Correct. And so, those will come every time we release a cycle. It will be a fresh start for characters. Your characters that have existed will transfer into a standard league, as you guys have come to assume they will. We'll be releasing new unique items, balance changes. We'll likely be implementing new skills, and lots of content like that we will continue to implement into the game for many years to come. In addition to other mechanics, systems, etc., etc.
Very nice. So, things like stash tabs, then, since they are bought in-game, I'm guessing they will also reset on a new cycle.
In what regard? Like
So-
resetting in terms of...
So I'm guessing a cycle will be a full reset for everybody. Like, if I played for 10 years, I won't have an
Correct.
advantage over anyone that's just started playing. So, like, I will have to buy new stash tabs.
That's correct, and those will be purchasable with gold.
Yeah.
However, the stash tabs that you have, I believe they're actually still in discussions about how to transfer those over to a standard league nicely after when a cycle begins. That's one of the design questions that we have to answer in the near future. We might actually have a game design document for that already. I'm forgetting.
Cool.
It's like the one open question at the bottom of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
we're still working on that one.
Very nice. Right. We have a very long question, or maybe multiple here, from Serko-san. What do you think about players in a party benefiting multiple times from certain specific rewards compared to single players? For example, hopping into a party just for the last story mission of a timeline to get everyone a chance to reroll the timeline blessing, effectively farming blessing rerolls 4 times faster compared to a single player.
Yeah, so in that case, I mean, players would still have had to kind of farm up the stability themselves.
Mhm.
So it's not that commonly occurring case. And I mean, our core philosophy for sure for multiplayer is to make sure players have fun playing together. We don't really want to take extreme measures to punish playing together unless the exploit is really exceptional or extreme. That case that question provides is not really an example of an extreme case that we're too worried about because of the stability requirements on the individual player.
Right. Also, I just thought of something. Can we, especially from chat here, give an applause for how smooth this has been going so far? Like, this is alpha gameplay, and we've had 2 crashes so far, and we've just been casually playing through the game in the background with, I can't think of any issues except the 2 loading screen crashes that I caused by alt tabbing. It's been very smooth in the background.
Thank you, chat. Please don't crash now, Ziz.
Yeah.
Well, I think I was causing those by alt tabbing, so I'm just trying to be better with alt tabbing now. Oh, what if I crash now? I don't think oh, no, I didn't alt tab.
Yeah, we do have some exceptional engineering talent helping us stand up this version of multiplayer at the moment. So this this next round of multiplayer iteration that we've been going through for the last year and a half or so has gone very well.
I almost feel like I'm praising you too much. Can I bring up my least favorite thing about Last Epoch?
Hit us, please.
Come over here. Come over here with me. So it's not even that bad here. I think it's the worst at
I
the
know,
Temple
or
of
did
Lag. Oh yeah, Sunstar knows what it is. I bitch about it every time I play.
What is it?
Do you see this hanging thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awful in Temple of Lagon. There's so... Can I get an option to turn that off? The, like, things that are supposed to give me immersion, I personally hate them. I hate having things like hanging over my screen, blocking my view.
Just have an immersion toggle in the settings.
I don't want immersion.
Just toggle that right off.
Please give me that. That's my least favorite thing about Last Epoch.
We're noted for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, especially trees and stuff. I'm just not a big fan. Noted equals no. No, that's good. They've been very, very great with feedback, so it's been pretty cool.
Level
His name's
design's
not
just, like,
Ted.
crying in the corner.
Oh no.
They'll be fine. They have lots of cool things to add everywhere. I mean, as you see, they add a lot of detail to these.
We just got a lot of new cool level design tools, and we're hiring a lot of 3D environment artists and things right now. So the level design of the game is going to improve significantly. Very, very excited about the visual changes coming to the game.
Very cool. The next question is again by Circo, who says, what happened to the ideas of a restricted trading that were referred to as the Bazaar during the Kickstarter?
Yeah, the Bazaar. We were very keen on this idea, enough to even actually speak about it publicly back in I think like 2019 or something like that. There was an extensive thread that I still think has more comments than any other thread that we've ever posted. I mean, in short, we found a number of flaws with the system that didn't line up with our goal of not letting trade take over the gearing progression that we've solidified into the game. There were a lot of aspects on it that we were keen on, but just ultimately it didn't meet up to our expectations for what we want in a trade system.
Right. All right. And you didn't really have anything final to say about where trade is going, right?
Not yet. What I can say is that we don't want a trade system in the game to be the best or most efficient way to always gain gear upgrades.
Right. With multiplayer coming in now and the potential for trading, have you guys talked about things like bind on equip, bind on pickup, bind on trade?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes, and I believe a couple of the conversations that we had to great length, were when you mentioned them, but we'd also thought about them ourselves too. So yes,
Okay.
we have thought heavily about all of those things, and we're taking them under consideration. I mean, we've gone as far as to discuss even how RuneScape does its economy. We've looked all the way back. We've discussed the actual Bazaar and EverQuest. We've gone through the history of economies and MMOs and RPGs to try to figure out what about them we enjoy the most.
Yeah.
So it's been very in depth. That's why we don't want to speak too much on it now, as we're still kind of bringing light to that whole process that we've been working on for so long.
That makes sense. A question I just thought of, especially for hardcore. If we're all playing together on hardcore and I die, can you interact with my corpse in any way? Will there be anything such as like bringing back people from death? Will there be? Can you loot me and take all my shit?
If you are
Nothing
hardcore,
to announce on that. We definitely have actually been discussing things in a similar vein to that, but nothing solidified.
Cool. What about? Is there? I actually can't remember if I've ever asked this, but is there ever going to be any form of PvP in Last Epoch?
We would love to do PvP eventually. First and foremost, it is a PvE game, and we want to make sure that all balance is around PvE content. So we do want to make sure that the PvE standing of the game is in very, very good shape, including additional in-game systems and some other systems that we have, that would be in conjunction with that, like, probably achievement systems and stuff like that, before we would start to lean into PvP. If we can make PvP enjoyable, I would love to bring it to the game. It's not the highest priority at the moment.
Makes sense. It's a very hard thing to do. I'm just wondering how you feel about this. Hardcore PvP, yes or no?
I mean, I like it.
I'd love it.
in Last Epoch or in general? Because in general, it's awesome.
In Last Epoch. I'm a big fan of like the option, so you could have like normal PvP where nobody dies, but then you could like, oh yeah, you think you're tough? Let's go hardcore PvP right now.
It's a great way to go out with a bang.
It would be so cool. Like that was one of my favorite things in Diablo 2 was doing hardcore PvP, and my friend Giga tilting after I took his ear and wouldn't give it back.
My
It's the
internet
ear that
connection was
makes
always
you
too bad in Diablo 2 to even consider it.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, that's
I
awesome.
just played a poison druid. I was that guy.
Oh, I was a trap sid. Just had a bunch of traps sitting at a waypoint. Bzz.
Yeah, I just had to hit you once.
Wouldn't let
And
me.
usually I couldn't. So
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a great question. I was actually don't think I already asked this. Sorry if I asked something twice, but I don't think I did. Are there going to be support skills that directly buff or augment another player? Not just passive auras, but actively channeling a damage boost into them.
Yeah, and there already are really. Like we have Terra's Blessing on Primalist, which actually can do that exact thing.
Can I do that already now?
You should be able to, I think.
Oh, let's try.
technically,
Question mark? Yeah, it's a sort of thing.
Oh my god, it works.
To let people have if they want and like unlock and expand through the skill tree systems. We're less focused on creating those as we don't want to have a big bunch of those skills as like here play this build where that's the only thing you do, and really force that down people's throats. But we do like the idea of it being an option that people can do.
Oh.
yeah, we want to add more
active support.
Yeah, active and reactive support, and we want to add more to the game, but I think a lot of what we already have is kind of like, speculative and theoretical. We added these things knowing we'd have multiplayer, but now we get to actually observe how the game is played and, make more exciting, supportive, buffing, interaction.
Here's something I'm very curious about regarding that, because have you ever played a video game called Magicka?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So in Magicka, you can fire beams into each other. I think it's so cool. Will there ever be a skill in Last Epoch that works with another skill like that? Like you can fire it into, like, boost a beam from somebody else?
I wouldn't count it out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
that's awesome.
certainly something we'll talk about.
That'd be so cool. I'm a big fan of stuff like that. Combo skills.
Can we get out of this Pepega zone? I don't have good void resistance.
Yeah, I have almost died so many times.
I definitely did not just die, I swear.
Oh.
Mike never dies on stream answering
Oh,
questions.
actually?
Yeah,
Could
no
one of you...
totems.
I really want to see what you look like when dead. If one of you would just die.
On it. Maybe. Come here, enemies. Ooh. pretty spiders.
Dan's not gonna let it happen.
Someone killed me.
sorry.
Okay, there we go. I'm dead.
You're dead?
I see lightning. I cast lightning. I can't stop myself.
Oh, my skill leveled up while I was dead.
Oh, nice. We're boosting you. All right, let's see. What's your corpse look like? Wow. Awesome.
I'm actually gaining experience while dead here.
Oh, that's great. Cool.
Well, one thing to note while we're looking for Mike's corpse is something I'm pretty excited about coming to the game is general lighting improvements. Right now, you'll notice that seeing other players as we're walking around, they look a little bit hard to see. It's a bit dark. We're making it so that actors, including monsters, NPCs, other players, and everything are more well illuminated, and that'll also do things to shadows in the game that make players stand off the background better. We're doing things like, if you notice walking through Last Epoch right now, a lot of the ground textures are very detailed, which makes it hard to see some things pop off of the background. So we're going to be taking some of the background textures and making those less detailed, so you're able to see things better. So those are just some of the visual improvements that'll be made, so you can see Mike's corpse better.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So, for those, like, obviously, we're going to have a lot of people that are new to Last Epoch watching as well. For those that don't know what I just did, I just respec'd out of my Thorn Totems into summon Stormcrows, which is actually, I've never used Stormcrows before. Do you? And that's how easy a respec is. There's like, I didn't have to pay anything. I didn't have to use any like special currency. I just respect, and now I just have to level up the skill, and it's actually leveling up faster until it's like caught up, which is nice. So that's what I meant earlier when I said it's easier to respec than a lot of others. Do you guys have any recommendations for Stormcrows? I've never used them before.
I feel like I would have used them more than I have, but I really haven't. I'm playing them with this build here in a second. So when I look at the skill trees, I might give you a recommendation. Funny enough, I'll tell a little story here. I've generally played a lot of passive builds in games like Grim Dawn, Path of Exile, Marvel Heroes, Diablo. I actually played those games so much that I've given myself incredibly bad RSI in both of my wrists, and so oftentimes I'll play totem builds or minion builds like that because it doesn't require so much action, and
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that we're prioritizing really fantastic controller support in the game, which we still have a lot of improvements to make. But if you guys see me playing a lot of minion builds and totem builds and stuff, it's because I haven't taken enough Advil for my wrist that morning.
So that is actually a great thing I want to ask about. Obviously, something that we're familiar with from other ARPGs, but the click pressure. Are you guys doing anything in particular to approach that and to make sure that players don't have to click a million times? So obviously, there are some things that are auto pickup in Last Epoch. Are we going to see more things like affix shards being auto pickup to alleviate players' wrists?
Yeah, it's a big topic of discussion for sure, and we want to make sure that we're implementing any conveniences there that we can. In regards to affix shards being auto pickup, there's been a ton of debate in the community and internally on this. We do feel that there is a balancing act to do there between picking up loot and having it automated, bringing into your inventory. Where we've landed right now with shard pickup is that we have a vacuuming effect. So if you click once, it'll pick up all the shards in a radius. We're apprehensive about making it so that shards just vacuum up as you walk near them, just automatically, because it'll start to feel like the game is being played for you. So we're pretty comfortable with where we have that at the moment. And it would require substantial community feedback to a degree that we haven't even seen yet to make us change something like that. But we're always looking for ways to make it so that there are less clicks to do things.
Yeah, I think a nice way to frame it too is we're already at this, we already think about it like this, and we're always trying to balance that convenience from day one. So as we continue to go through the years, hopefully, adding layers, more systems, that's when we'll be thinking about the stacking up of complexity and
Yeah.
number of clicks and all of that. So we can kind of think about it early rather than have to solve the problem later.
Yeah, I guess my take on things like being able to vacuum loot affixes is maybe having it be unlocked as like a slightly later game thing. Because early on, you might like if you did it from level 1, people might not realize they're getting the affixes. The only thing that I could see is that there's never a point where you would not need to loot the affixes, I guess. Like, because they don't take up any space, right? So that's like
They take up inventory space temporarily until you transfer them.
Yeah.
Which has also been another topic of debate internally and in the community.
Yeah. Oh, so that might be something that changes?
Maybe.
Okay.
There's no direct plans in the books,
Right.
but it's it's stuff we talk about all the time.
Yeah. That makes sense. How many, just out of curiosity, how many uniques or set items have you all found?
I found
have
6.
Oh,
What?
wow.
I know,
I have 2, dude.
I'm
At least
so bad when it comes to this. I just find them all.
I found like
I
4.
always get Hammer of Lorette in the first 30 minutes of playing. No matter what, the
I've
Hammer of
gotten
Lorette
2.
finds me.
I have not found a hammer. I found avarice, keeper's gloves, gambler's fallacy. I guess gambler's fallacy is guaranteed.
That was a quest reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found relevant uniques too somehow.
Oh yeah, and I got Pebbles' color. Yeah, no, it is nice.
I found the boots that this build that I'm playing is gonna want to use at the very end already. Which is nice.
Nice. Let's see. We have another question from Serko-san. Right now, players are talking about how much balanced all the skills are and how much all of them are viable. Do you fear that with a larger, more active community, we'll find out the ones that are actually a bit stronger than others, and our perception will change, and we'll start talking about how few of them are viable?
I don't think that's frightening. I think it's actually exciting to get more information, more data, more like I guess crowdsourcing of experimentation in there. And I think we always try and bring up more things, maybe things that do fall behind when that happens, bring them up, make them more fun. And I think a lot of it is about making them fun as well. So it's not always about pure power, but keeping as many viable as possible is something we definitely keep a very close eye on and try and do.
Yeah, and sometimes sometimes it is better to nerf an outlier, which than to buff 100 other skills. So we are mindful of where we need to make adjustments, but on the whole, we like to think about improving the variety of options rather than always having to punish.
Here's an interesting this question. Are you going to strive for an actual balance where you're always trying to like keep skills within a certain margin of each other, or are you going to just keep nerfing and buffing things to cycle out what ends up being popular to like keep things refreshed?
I think that's a great question. There's actually a concept of that called perfect imbalance. They talk about that actually even in games like League of Legends, other action RPGs, games like ours. And for us, I think we really do believe in making constant adjustments and modifications. Seeing a meta build kind of settle up at the top for a very long time is can kind of feel a little tiresome over a number of cycles and releases when you feel really pressured to keep continuing to that build. With that said, we're not really the type to make, we don't really want to just yank that build out of the spotlight. So if something is really powerful but isn't an outlier, we're going to make slight adjustments to it over time until someone kind of bubbles up the arguments like, hey, this is no longer the meta build. There's other things that are just as good now, rather than trying to take the most powerful build and just nerfing it down. So we very much fundamentally believe in that perfect imbalance of constantly making adjustments.
That is a pretty good answer for me. I personally am not a big fan of balance in RPGs. I personally just love radical change all the time. So like you said, that there isn't one build being the strongest build for like 6 years. So
yeah, and we like to adjust those builds by not taking them away from players who enjoy them, but making it clear to people that we want to shift that meta, as we need to.
Yeah, that's good. Also, I thought it was pretty cool. I got +1 companion limit on my wolf, and now I can have more ravens.
Love it.
see. A lot of trade questions that are like basically covered several times. Actually, something that we haven't covered, is there going to be any sort of drop bonus by being more people?
There won't be any type of drop bonus. All loot will be individualized. And, it's probably also worth noting that we're against having magic find as a gearable stat, so it eliminates things like the concept of having a collar in the party or something like that.
Very nice. Very, very nice. I am happy to hear that.
We're almost free of the void damage.
Almost.
I'm literally just specking into life and ward so I don't die while answering questions right now.
I have 0 void resist.
Same.
It's painful. I haven't focused that much on my gear either. Which I'm guessing you guys haven't either.
Not much, nope.
It's falling into place surprisingly well for me.
Yeah,
I'm not
I got a
doing
pretty-
anything.
I'm pretty stacked, dude. I got lightning out the wazoo right.
I just found a helmet with plus skills to the skill I'm using.
No way. This
Yeah.
early. I
Yep.
also have not bothered making a filter. Which for those that don't know, Last Epoch has a very easy to make in-game filter. Very, very easy that you can just Shift F, make as you go, create a filter. And then I can be like, my multiplayer to Ruin. It's pretty cool.
Still always looking for feedback on the filter as well. It's something that we'll iterate and improve on over time. We're fairly happy with it where it is right now, but there's definitely some things that we're targeting to add to it over time.
There, I just hit all normal and magic items. The technology, yeah. Filter technology in-game is there. Does it have custom sounds? I don't think so.
It doesn't have custom sounds. That's something that we would like to implement into the future, yeah. We want to have sound packs. Mike, there's always been the idea of the sounds that you've made during the stream, little snippets that you say, being in there as a sound pack.
My one-liner exclamations of me getting terrified in the middle
spicy.
of
Yeah, Ooh Spicy was the first recommendation.
yeah.
That's awesome. Let's see.
I guess I
think
should
one of the
cover
important things
cover my bases there. When I say sound packs, we don't have any plans to create sound packs to sell at the moment or anything like that. Just in case anybody's wondering.
And we also have to be careful about how we let players use that sound system, so it's not just like spamming Ooh Spicy every second that an item drops just over and over and over.
You'd have to toggle the immersion setting way off.
Hey.
Yeah.
Very nice. Feeling Sentimental is asking, are skills getting rebalanced with multiplayer drop, or will we have a patch of mayhem?
Great question. We are definitely undergoing a totally massive overhaul right now internally. So one thing we're actually doing that we can talk about a bit is we're changing how additive damage works so that melee weapons will have just melee or throwing damage on them, which was going to massively increase build diversity. In that process, we've had to go and readjust all of the skill trees, and we're essentially also using that as an opportunity to just rebalance for multiplayer. The time to continue to balance is right now. We have internal testers playing the end game. We're going to be listening and responding to a lot of that. We're trying to do the best we can right now in our closed alpha before we go to open beta to adjust the design of the game. But let's be honest, game design, game balance is very challenging. I would expect a little bit of mayhem when we open to open beta and there's a lot more players finding all of the different ways to play the game.
That makes sense. Ooh, will dungeons require a key from everyone?
No. Only one person needs to open the dungeon. But it will reduce the number of keys that drop inside the dungeons themselves to avoid a party meal just to sustain running that same dungeon forever.
Okay.
But yeah, it's right now the plan is one person opens it up. there's some knock-on balance stuff that happens that we're still working out exactly how it's going to happen. For example, the vaults, like we're looking at when one person pays for it, how does that affect the loot that everyone gets and things like that. So we're still
Right.
experimenting and lining up, but we want to make it friendly and having those barriers to play in a party be low.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like you're thinking very heavily about just people having fun and a good time more than anything.
I think
Yeah,
if
like
we sorry, yeah, it's like, if we do that well up front and people come and play and they have a good time and they experience the parts of the game that we're already super proud of making, that gives us the best basis we have to build more complexity, more systems, more features, more things to add in the future. So yeah, I think that's what we're really honing in on as we get to 1.0.
Very cool. That's some good choices. Let's see. He's also asking, will Healing Hand finally get a skill tree or rework?
The answer to that is almost certain. As we've definitely been looking at its performance as we've been testing online. Healing Hands is a great example of something I was mentioning before about how we speculated about multiplayer. So we built a skill many years ago, and now we're seeing how it actually performs online. That's definitely something we're going to be addressing moving forward. We haven't prioritized it at the moment because of other things, but during our rebalancing process that I mentioned, we're certainly going to take a look at it.
Yeah. Wait, we have to teleport somewhere now, right? We have to
just go
go
back. Yeah.
the armory? I guess.
Uh,
We can go back to the camp.
yeah.
Oh,
the cultist camp? Alright.
Yeah, that's generally why we saw skills like Itera's Blessing, Healing Hand, even things like our Paladin Auras and stuff get skill trees later, is because we knew that they were going to have a very significant impact on multiplayer, and so we wanted to wait and see how that was going to turn out before really investing a lot of energy into skill trees for those skills. And now that we have developed a couple of those, we are having to go back and rebalance them, considering that we're now actually actively testing multiplayer with the entire team multiple times a week.
Right, that makes sense. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. If you guys want to answer questions from chat live or something you guys can just pick your own questions. I'm guessing you have chat open. So I'll be right back in like 2 minutes.
For sure. Judd, how about you try one?
I actually don't have this stream up.
Sure. Let's see right here.
I've got one here. Judd, how sad are you that Marvel Heroes died?
Oh my goodness, extremely sad. I think I had a combined like almost 2,000 levels and characters in that game. I absolutely loved that game. They had a very rocky start. There were some issues with licensing and stuff like that that ultimately led to it going under. But the updates that they had made to that game over time were fantastic. They had great account progression systems. They gave you reasons to level alts. All the characters felt very unique. I loved that game a lot, and actually got the chance to meet up with David Brevik, which was an absolute joy. Just one of my biggest dreams as a kid is meeting David Brevik, and I got to chat with him about Marvel Heroes quite extensively. So yes, very much miss that game.
I see some question about auto casting, auto bombing. So we actually have, for there we tend to see the auto bombing question about numlocking, automating your skills as a problem inherent to the skills design itself, rather than your ability to do that. So any situations where we see something like the auto bomber builds, we definitely are aware of what's being played right now currently, and we want to make improvements to kind of still allow that build function to be viable, but not enable it as like the default. We want to add more reactive options to builds like that, so that you feel that there's more meaningful decisions to make. So again, to answer that directly, for numlocking, auto bombing, it's more we view that as an inherent failure or problem of a skill's core design, rather than dealing with that specific issue itself. Question about the adaptive damage patch that will be in the open beta. So when we release the open beta to public, you will be able to kind of experience that total change we've made for melee throwing, everything else besides spell. Blackton has asked, has anyone been far, even has decided to use even go want to do more look like? And the answer is yeah.
Good
At
question.
least one more.
All right, Mike, you're up. Pick one out there.
Are there raids in the game? No, there are not raids in the game. We're still keeping the max party size to 4 at the moment. There's no one after that. Does Ellie have death recap? There is a death recap screen. It shows you the thing that hit you last and what damage type it was. It doesn't give you a detailed breakdown of like specifically which like how many abilities hit you and a whole like log of recent damage or anything like that, but it does show you the last thing that killed you. Which is usually pretty indicative of what you've been taking damage-wise for the whole time.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Hello again.
You guys should just take over my stream. This is great.
Done.
Well, don't offer for free, Mike.
Right. Forgot.
Mike's too nice. Right, let's see. Is there any way to get more Stormcrows in the Stormcrow tree? I can't see companion limit anywhere.
The Stormcrows already summon up to your companion limit.
Yeah, is there any way to get more max in the Stormcrow tree?
I don't think there's any way to get more max in the Stormcrow tree, no. I think you have to... There's a passive, there's unlocking Beastmaster, there's an item as well for it, a helmet.
Yeah, it's not the truth.
Right. That makes sense.
I think those are the 3 sources of it. There's also a node in Wolf that lets you do it as well.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Are we going... My quest is saying saving the last refugee. So do we need to go to Armory or do we go Ritual Site?
We can just kind of blow past that if we want.
Okay, sure.
Farewell.
Do we just go to the Ritual Site then?
Will this happen? Let's find
yeah.
out.
All right, let's go.
Should work.
Quest bugs are definitely some of the more complicated things, making sure players' different quest states are accurate at all different kinds of periods of time. You know, just multiply that with 4 players. That's why we've opted for being able to kind of have an ease of access rather than try to solve every complex quest state for open beta.
That makes sense. The next question is by Elforth. I understand there are a few more endgame systems yet to come. Where do these fall on the roadmap past multiplayer?
That is a great question. And the answer for that is immediate. We need to finish the remaining mastery classes before 1.0. Kind of at the same time, though, we are immediately planning for endgame additions. This is on the forefront of my mind personally. It's something that keeps me up at night right now as we're trying to do everything else. Right now, we're kind of seeing if we can determine if there's anything we can provide between now and 1.0. And we have some good systems, but we're not really promising anything before 1.0. However, we do have a number of ideas that we do want to ship. So you should definitely expect us to have priority number 1 to be adding endgame content post-launch. So
nice.
It's on our mind and we've already started.
Yeah, I really like the dynamic boss, the Shade. I think that was a very, very cool idea. For those that don't know, there's a boss in Last Epoch that is basically random each time you fight it. I can't remember, is it 120 skills? Or how many different skills does it choose from?
It's 28 or 32, but it can multiply in a large variety of combinations.
Right. So it's like...
It's one of those things where there's the number of possible combinations is so big, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. It's very fun.
Yeah, and their power level's modified by what you're doing in the monolith too, so it's just something you can keep really having a challenge with as you're playing through.
Yeah, no, I quite like that. Are we going to see more bosses like that are a little bit random and dynamic, as well as like static bosses?
Totally. Uncertainty is something that is quite a lot. Uncertainty in encounters like that is a lot of fun. Not knowing what you're going to expect when you end up in a fight is interesting, but also having a predictable path through challenging bosses that you understand how they work. I think both have their place in the game, and both of them excite us.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Dungeons were a very cool addition, but could use some work, and same for monoliths. Are there any current plans, or even thoughts that you are willing to share about how you want to improve these two systems?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things where there's always going to be room for improvement and expansion in both of those, and we specifically designed both to be friendly for those expansions and improvements and things like that. So our one of our main goals is just in the development of Last Epoch is increasing the variety that we have in our endgame experiences, and that comes a lot from adding new dungeons, but also from just improving the experience that exists in Monolith as well as a whole, and improving the experience in dungeons as well. So we're planning on adding anywhere we can random events, things to interact with that sort of pop up that you don't expect, things that you can that change your gameplay objectives as you're going.
Mhm.
So you're not just like on autopilot doing the same thing over and over again if you don't want to be.
Right.
So that might be like adding new echo types, so new objectives in the echoes that can be things like, random events that happen in those echoes. Sometimes it might be
Oh.
things that like tell you to search. Like one example that I heard recently that I liked was maybe an echo says like search this one because there's a higher chance of something random happening. So maybe it gives you an incentive to explore that echo specifically.
Yeah, I like that. Especially like random events sounds very fun.
Yeah.
So, the next question is there's a lot of questions by Elfworth here, and I really like this one. Set items, by and large, seem underpowered and not exciting compared to uniques and rares, especially in the mid and end game. Are there plans to bring power and flexibility to set items more in line with unique items?
Yeah, so we definitely want set items to be part of your end game gear consideration. So you're not just ignoring them at end game, or like super end game at least. We don't have any concrete plans to add additional mechanics specific to set items. We're open to suggestions. We're still looking at it for the future. There's sort of like there's a pretty big gap between good and perfect gear right now, and there's more room to balance sets in a way that makes them viable without taking over the game completely. Because we that's a big problem too if set items just become if it swings too far the other way.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why I'm
'cause they
very
do lock down
curious what you're going to do, because that's like the biggest problem is set items in every game I've played that have them. Yeah, it becomes like mandatory.
Yeah,
and it locks down too many gear slots, right? Where you're just like, it's okay. Well, I'm playing a marksman rogue, and there's the marksman rogue set, and so these 4 slots are just spoken for, and it's like I don't have to consider them at
Yeah.
all when doing my gearing, and that's something we want to avoid. But we do want them to be viable and fun to play with. So I think we can, in the short term, all that we can really expect immediately is some individual buffs to specific set items that are more end game focused but aren't performing like they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like similar to some of the other questions where people were asking what our vision was on a thing, and in this case for sets, it's more like how does the game play and what do we want from it is how we're going to act. We're not going to say go and make every set hyper viable. We'll try to adjust sets on a piece by piece basis to ideally get them in a nice state. But if the problem we end up in is that there's always a back and forth of whether or not sets are ever useful, we prefer that over sets feeling completely mandatory all the
Yeah.
time. That's really important to us.
Gotta be careful with the V word.
That's true.
I think that's what the chuckle was as he said it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find synonyms where possible.
That's fair. Yeah, no, it's a very, very difficult one. I definitely prefer, like you said, if they're underpowered rather than always mandatory. Also, who named the Stormcrows?
Uh,
I don't know.
Usually it's Chi, but sometimes like I've slipped some names into just about every minion.
They're amazing names. Moonin, I love it. As a Norwegian, I love it. And also, what's the other one called? Quarmstro. I love it.
Oh yeah, that was definitely Trisachi.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
I know we put a
Fence in the
few
wall.
squirrel names in for you a little while ago, so there are some squirrel names you requested that are in.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I was thinking maybe now I should make another unique item, a glove that turns storm crows into flying squirrels.
I love it.
Please no more.
we need a flying spaghetti monster enemy to fight
Yeah.
them with.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
And everyone who plays Magic will get that.
We do flying squirrels because you have them like gliding, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Sugar gliders. Oh, that's awesome. I'm like so happy with how the unique turned out as well. And I still, so for those that don't know, I designed a unique in Last Epoch, and it was very fun. It basically turns all the wolves into squirrels. Now, I made a new druid character, and let's see, what's the rune called again? Is it Rune of Ascension?
Yep.
Yeah. So Rune of Ascension basically has or turns a helmet into, or it turns an item into its like parent unique item. So if you use it on a helmet, you get a unique helmet. On the first try, I got my helmet that I designed. So I actually messaged in our group chat with the devs. Did you guys rig this? And apparently they didn't. But it was so sus that I was like, wait a minute.
I had
So-
to think for
Yeah.
a second.
Definitely
actually
not
really low
rigged.
chance.
We would, yeah. You know, we want you to play the game more, and so giving you the item immediately wouldn't be in our best interest whatsoever, right?
That's true.
I think it was a 1 in 36 chance. I think it was something like that.
I have a character that I'm actually trying to find that helmet on. I cannot get it.
Yeah, that's been my problem too. So I have been trying, because I got a very badly rolled one. That's part of the thing that I wanted on my helmet, was I really wanted it to be very hard to get a well-rolled helmet. I think somebody did the math, and getting a perfect roll is like 1 in 1.3 trillion. But or just any specific roll, I guess. But yeah, so that's part of what I wanted. And yeah, I got a badly rolled one. I think I've used 50, 60 Rune of Ascension now, maybe more. I still haven't got a second one.
You used up all the luck that was right at the start.
Yeah, it was very funny. I was very pleased. Let's see. We actually,
That
I've...
support decoy up. Haste for everybody.
Oh, nice.
I've got my seeking
Let's
totems now.
go.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing nothing to help any of you. I'm just increasing my lightning power.
I'm just running around in my summons area, killing everything. I
Is that all
quit.
we are to now?
Yeah, we're just running for everything. Oh, yeah, you guys are also my summons. Technically, I'm just a minion summoner.
We did wait around in town when you went AFK. There's credence.
Bro. Let's see. Oh, actually, here's something I'm very curious about. So, currently, there's no way to re-roll a unique item. Is that staying? I personally love it.
We don't have any plans to make them re-rollable at the moment. I hate ruling things out as like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll never add that, but there's no active plans to add that
Okay,
right
cool.
now.
If we did, it would have to be a very rare item.
Yeah.
Or a dungeon reward possibly. I think that came
Yeah,
up
that
as an option for a dungeon reward.
Maybe.
Oh,
That might even be too easy. I don't know.
people are asking if you could confirm or deny South America servers, because that was not mentioned earlier.
Confirmed. Yep, we have them already. We actually are already testing with them too.
Oh, awesome.
We have a number of Brazilian team members as well, and so they're actually testing. So confirmed. Apologies if that was not covered in my list.
Very cool. Very cool. DLP Random is asking, what are your thoughts on the current velocity of development? Given the rapid pace of new content releases by some of your competitors in the RPG space, do you believe Last Epoch will be able to keep up?
That's a I could go a lot of ways with that question. Really great question. We did manage to get this far by putting one fundamental concept in game service ahead of over everything else, and that's iterate fast. We knew that in this genre there was a certain expectation set about content changes, interesting ways to play. We would have to be able to create, add, and fix content very quickly. Over our lifespan on Steam, we've already released 17 major 3-month patches and over 90 smaller patches of hot fixes, bugs, and changes. I think that has really helped us get this far. People kind of tend to come back, check us out. They want to see the changes and additions. And as we've built multiplayer, we've also made sure that's kind of the heart of the philosophy is when we go online, we need to be able to hot fix quickly. We're going to have to be able to make balance changes fast, and we're going to have to be able to add new content as quickly as we did in the past. And we've been making a ton of stuff since the beginning. Even right now with all the stuff we're working with online, we have over 300 uniques planned in our production processes right now to be delivering through and after the release of the game. It can be challenging to kind of compare ourselves to some of the competitors in this space. They have very large teams of hundreds and hundreds of people, and that's not something we're kind of aiming for ourselves. Even Chris Wilson, who is super friendly, he's even said, "Don't worry about what they're doing. Worry about how we're going to make the game for our team size." And for us, we've always been able to make content quickly, and we're always going to be able to make content quickly for our team size. We're very passionate about it.
Yeah, well, that's a great answer. As a follow-up to that, how are you going to plan your releases according to other games? Like, for example, I'm guessing you will care some about not having the same cycle league start as others like Diablo and Path of Exile.
I'm sure Judd has more thoughts on this too, but I think if you've followed our development process up to this point, we've been, for the most part, really mindful of other game releases, and we have a lot of control over our own game process and when it can come out. So the answer would be we're going to continue to be observant of when the other games are releasing major content.
Yeah, we have a very good relationship with Grinding Gear Games and Chris, and we have a lot of people on the team that very much do enjoy playing Path of Exile leagues. It wouldn't be advantageous for us to release at the same time frame as a game like that. Just because as ARPG players, we like to play those games as well. We understand that the community that plays these types of games likes to bounce around. So we'll definitely be mindful of that. I don't know if we can say that we'll always be in their valley will be our peak or anything like that, but we'll definitely be very mindful of it.
Awesome. See, I'm just loading. Am I in the right spot now? Shattered Valley, and then we go to the courtyard? I'm used to blindly following the quest markers.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, sweet. All right, let's see.
I portaled to the wrong zone like a noob.
Am I in the right spot?
Yes, go down.
Excellent. Oh, right. Ancient Forest. Wait, I need to go in, right?
I don't think we have to, but why not?
We can do the rift. There's it's either an idle slot or a passive.
Right. Yeah.
Passive skill reward for
This
doing
is
that.
the dragon, right? Am I remembering right?
Yeah.
Dragon.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, it's. I know what reward this is. It's not a passive or an idle.
Oh. Yeah, this is the dragon. So this is particularly this question. Path of Exile has things like private leagues. Is that something you could see yourself implementing?
We are interested in those leagues. Sorry, Judge.
Yeah. No, I think that's the right answer.
Yeah. For launching, those kind of leagues are very complex technically to build and procure and produce and make sure we deliver. So it's right now it's not part of our launch plan, but yeah, like private leagues, experimental cycles, we're interested in all of that, and we'll be heavily focused on exploring that space when we're done, closing this up.
And what about, aside from like players making their own events like that, what about you making your own events?
Yeah, we in the past, we were definitely, people that were around saw we planned races. We were really heavily involved in those kind of things, and it's something we're interested in moving back towards when we're done this really heavy heads down development process. So it's kind of the same answer of when we're through 1.0. It's something we've already done. It's something we've already been passionate about, and we'll definitely be re-exploring as we're bring our heads back up out of the hardcore dev process we're in right now.
Very nice. Oh, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we'll see a Last Epoch Gauntlet eventually.
I can add it to the other Gauntlet shirts now that are collecting in my closet.
Very nice.
Masochist mode.
Yep. Let's see. LLD is asking about build diversity and skill interaction. Is there any plans for making skills more unique and customizable? With uniques, or for example, having cross trees, like a skill can be modified in another skills tree for them to interact together.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of this already. Actually, it's something that we try and build into, especially newer skill trees that we try and build into as much as we can, where you are getting interactions between skill trees and things that are specific. We also do try and build specific abilities that are not linked directly to one skill necessarily. Example: this mage has fire aura. Rogues have their shadows. Void Knight has some echo stuff that goes across multiple skills, and getting those interactions, getting those abilities that are not linked to specific active skills lets us do that really nicely and cleanly. Also through items, there's a lot of things there's a lot of interactions there that I think line up really nicely with this type of request, and it's definitely something we want to continue doing, and I think it adds a lot of depth really easily,
Yeah.
with something that's fairly intuitive.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you already have a lot of this. Like I already mentioned with the wolves, and then you have unique items like Herald of the Scurry as well.
It's actually a really it seems easier than it is to make those, and over the years we've learned, as we get better at developing skills, we learn how to kind of put those synergies in places, because really what we love about the synergies is making sure that it's not just about raw numbers. It's about like giving you something. Oh, I'm gonna die answering. It's like giving you something that you can kind of create your own theories with, and how it interacts with other builds. Is we're getting better and better at that every day, and it's there we go.
You died from that?
I told you I'm only building lightning damage.
A
I'm a softcore
slow-
Andy right now.
A slow and telegraphed attack?
Look,
Oh,
He got
no.
greedy.
look, I had to do DPS,
That's fair.
and my punishment was I'm disconnected.
Oh
The
no!
shame bells out.
Oh, I got
he
hit
got
by
me
it.
that time.
I survived it though.
Oh, I almost failed to res your head. Oh, you
No, I got it.
no, I was trying to res Judd's, but then I realized he's released and it went with him.
What about bigger character skill trees? How is that in relation to the size of what we're currently seeing?
Now, just because this is about like passive trees or like
Both for
abilities
an
skill tree?
individual skill as well as like things like the Primalist, Shaman Druid.
Yeah, so as far as the individual skill trees, we're pretty happy with where they are. We've experimented a few times with bigger ones. It did not go well, and I think we've kind of honed in on that sweet spot for skill tree size. And there's definitely room in a lot of them for expanding them. So there's some older skill trees that are really small, and I think looking at the newer skill trees gives a really good example on appropriate size for trees. And then there's also there's a range that we keep all of them in.
Yeah.
And so we have metrics for like the number of nodes, the number of connections, all those things. We try and keep them in a few ranges. As far as the passive trees, also not really looking to expand them too much in size. There's a little bit of room in the UI to add an extra row if we really need it, but it's not something we're overly interested in. I think that a lot of the there's a lot of extra nodes that are missing off of 3 of the classes right now, with Warlock, Rune Master, and Falcon are missing still. So like the lower sections of all those trees that are not available to Marksmen and Blade Dancers and all the other classes that are still missing that third mastery. So it's there's going to be more added naturally that way. But having significantly larger trees is not something we're looking at yet. We're pretty happy with the size that they're sitting at. I think improving the nodes that are there and like replacing and updating, and also we've recently started adding in threshold nodes, which you actually have on your druid tree a lot,
Mhm.
as something that we're looking at adding in more, that we think is a really good a really good way to increase the size of the tree without actually adding more nodes.
Yeah. Awesome. People are asking me to check out the in-game guide as well. I haven't actually seen that because it wasn't really around when I started learning the game. But I just wanted to, for new players, talk a little bit about the crafting system for those that haven't seen it before. Like, this is the belt that I'm wearing right now, and you don't actually need to find a forge to upgrade. I don't know if that's changing or if we'll always be able to forge on the go. Actually, yeah, tell us about that. Are we always going to be able to craft on the go like this?
We actually were just talking about this. The answer is we're not making any changes to it at the time being. We were discussing, it kind of came up in the conversation of ways that you could add more interactivity into towns, and getting players into towns. And I don't think that's necessarily the path we're going to take. I think we want to find more interesting, exciting things to bring players to town. It's pretty nice having that convenience
Is
and
very
privilege for the
nice.
time being.
So for those that don't know, every item has forging potential. So this is the belt I have right now. And if I hold Alt Control, it'll show me the tiers of the items. Tiers go from tier 1 to tier 5. This is tier 1 mana regeneration, which right now my Stormcrows are using mana every time they attack. So I want to up my mana regeneration a little bit. Now, I'm just going to click my mana regeneration. I have 3 mana regeneration shards that I've found. So, okay, I went to tier 2. That's tier 3. I have 1 more shard left. But it now requires level 24 to craft. And now I've just upgraded it. I lost some crafting potential. I can still keep crafting it. My amulet has tier 2. This uses a different shard, I think. Maybe it's a different type of shard. I don't know. Anyway, it says I have 2. I'm going to use 1. I have 1 left. And now I have tier 3 mana regeneration. So a lot more deterministic than other things.
Ooh, I found a fun bug. Look at this. I can activate all of our Stormcrows, yours and mine.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yo, the synergy.
I bet it's not actually using the power of the other ones. It might be though.
I love that we're just gonna poke bugs right here live on stream. Why not?
I mean,
Let's just do it. You know what?
That was a fun one. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
I think this might be an example of the client doing things visually,
Yeah.
and the server doing it properly, functionally. So the server's probably knows your specific crows and is
Yeah.
only using the damage from the specific ones, but the client's just like, grab all of them and turn those visuals on, because it doesn't actually affect anything.
but aside from that, Jed, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to ban you for bug abuse.
Making me feel V powerful.
Oh, actually, I got a really nice belt with regen and minion damage. Yo, that's sick.
While you were doing that, I was crafting, and my goodness, we got some damage now.
All right, I'm back again. Try me one more time. But I think that's one thing we really like showing multiplayer right now is, I mean, we want to show people kind of, what we're building, what we have in the future. We've worked really hard at this for a very long time and are focusing on polish and quality, but we want players to know that we're very aware that we'll have some issues and we'll be working hard to consistently improve and fix the game over time. So, kind of showing players what to expect as we continue to build things is something we've always done. So I'm glad
Yeah.
we're kind of showing it off in its current state.
I think that's a great approach. Let's see. Where's Stance?
I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps teasing.
That dragon just basically exploded me off of the internet. So
All right. And let's see. You said you were going to have a standard thing that will never reset, right?
We'll have a
Yeah,
standard
that's
league,
fine.
correct? Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. I need more mana regen.
It's tough to find.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You have not gone with anything like mana potions. It's just healing potions. Are there going to be other ways of regenerating mana, or is it going to be very similar to what we already have?
It'll continue to be similar to what we have. We intentionally want to make mana a resource that is not extremely easily solvable, so it's something that you actually do want to gear and build around, and you can continue to progress in that axis. You do have some skills, like in the mage, you have focus that'll let you regen mana. There is the opportunity to gear some slots with mana regeneration. We have mana efficiency in skill trees and passives. So you have to work towards it a little bit more, but we think that's a design that we want to stick with.
Right. Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see how that will change. I can't remember exactly what build I had. But I had one build that was struggling so much on mana. I had mana regeneration on every... What's the last build I played? I just can't remember what it was. I had mana regeneration on every piece of gear, including gloves, which can't even get it anymore. So it was like a legacy mod. And I was still out of mana constantly.
Yeah, it depends on the skills mana cost that you're
Yeah.
using and how you're playing with it. So it's something that we do want players to continue to solve. But if we see that players are going extremely hard into trying to build mana regeneration and it's still not getting to a point that is sensible, we can look at balancing it.
Nice. Are you ever going to have any different type of potions than healing potion? Like utility?
We like to put the extra effects and utility that potions get on your belt slot. So chances are the potion that you see in your UI and your inventory will likely just stay the way it is, and we're not really planning on having an item that you pick up that augments the potion directly as just like a potion item or a flask item or something like that. But rather have the belt be the signature of the belt, being that it affects your potions.
Mhm.
And so there's lots of mods that go onto your belt slot already, and we're looking at expanding those too, to have more things and more varied options that you can augment what your potion is doing. And in some cases, that does remove the ability to heal from your potions. It makes your potions not heal. So there are other effects that come with potions through your belt slot.
yeah,
Cool.
going back to when we're talking about button spam, number of buttons pressed. I think that's one key area we're very happy to try to avoid in that space. I'll say I'm playing the current PoE season. It's the first time I've gotten to play since automating my flasks, and I'm having the time of my life just
Oh,
not having
nice.
to press my flasks anymore.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. Will there be online anti-cheat from the start to make arena ranking as cheat-free as possible?
Yep. So for anti-cheat, I'll be very clear up front. We will not be placing any kind of invasive anti-cheat technology in the game. So you will not have any kind of second or third-party software installed over the game to protect the cheating. The whole purpose of us doing this, this long-term server authoritative multiplayer is so that we can catch gameplay exploits ourselves. We can catch them through observation. All player calculations are performed on the server. It can no longer be impacted in ways that they currently can in the offline game. So anti-cheat is through the actual design process of creating a fully server authoritative game. Because we'll have data to find those kind of behaviors. We will have various methods that it's better we don't get into to discuss, that we'll be exploring how to prevent them. But to be very clear again, we will not be doing any kind of anti-cheat additional software. We will be managing all of that through the way we've designed multiplayer.
So I guess that's going to be one of the really nice thing about having cycles is that if something does go very wrong, let's say with like dupes or cheats and something like pollutes the economy, at least it gets reset for the next cycle. But something I'm curious about is how much are you going to care about your standard league? Like, how important is that going to be to you in terms of balancing the game and things like that?
So the standard league will receive all of the updates to items, all the balancing that we make to items and skills and passives. We expect that the standard league people will amass an amount of wealth that we're not going to see in cycles, and we do want to be okay with that. It's something that you can go back onto previous existing characters and build on to them for years at a time if you would like to do that. It will receive balance patches, but it probably will. You're going to have more power over there.
That makes sense. And are you very worried about the economy being ruined by things like cheats and stuff on that realm?
Not particularly. I think some of the decisions we've made of how we're going to launch an economy up front are going to help us control that a lot better. I think other really complex economies, there's a lot of stress and a lot of additional work for developers that go into protecting those economies, and we're kind of avoiding that. Some of the options we're exploring at the moment. With that said, as we continue to add more complex options for interacting with each other, we'll try to build things on in a sensible way that let us actually be able to manage them. So for the time being, yeah, we're not as worried about those things ruining anything because we're probably not going to release an environment as robust as, say, the auction house we were previously pitching.
What about something like a damage meter for parties? Have you thought about that? Oh no, I died.
Rip.
Oh,
I just got owned.
Someone was asking what the death screen looks like. There you go. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I was just showing them. Hey, that was my first death. So wait, what happens if I teleport to you now while I'm in the same instance?
It's like nothing happened.
Come on over.
Oh, I do get teleported to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't die.
I'm just trying to die less than you do.
Hey. Nice. Yeah, sorry. What was I asking? Oh yeah, damage meters.
Damage meters. It's a good conversation. We know that a lot of people do want to understand how much damage they're doing, and we have the damage training dummies at the arena grounds that people can beat on to understand that a bit more. We don't want to make it so that people focus on their damage as much as maybe a damage meter that follows you around would make the case. So when we've brought this up in the past, we've tended to lean towards no, we don't want to have that as a persistent element that can follow you around and tell you your DPS, especially in parties. But we do like to give you ways to understand how much damage you're doing, and whenever we start to implement more in-game bosses that don't have the amount of scaling to them as we do right now, it should be a good benchmark for how your character is doing, because some of those bosses will likely be DPS checks and things like that.
Nice. I think the next question is actually going to be the most important one for me. When will the gambling delay be removed?
It's a common request, isn't it?
Gambling's not a huge part of gear acquisition, and it's not like designed to be either. It's more of a mid-game, like get you through leveling a little bit faster, and we're hoping the players are not sitting in town just gambling.
Oh,
that's not a game loop that we're really encouraging right now.
Oh, my bad.
I think whenever we expand upon the gambling system, and we do have conversations about how we can make the gambling system, more intriguing than it is right now. We've had some nerfs to it. Whenever we go back and take a good look at that system, we do understand that people would like to not have the gambler be delayed in the item pooling as much as it is.
Yeah.
And so we would probably take a look at it then.
Gonna add minion damage to my filter here.
I should probably do the same.
Is the Raven a minion spell? I guess it is.
So its minion tags is lightning and spell.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
There.
Get me out of here.
You want to split the next zone? Or is it still
Good.
one person has to press both?
Yeah,
Ooh, that's a good
misclick.
question. I'm not sure if we changed that.
Let's see.
To be safe, let's have one person touch both.
Okay.
Wait for me 1 sec. I
I'm
misclicked.
zapping things, dude.
I misclicked.
What are you gonna do when you play with Steel? He's just gonna be zooming.
No. It'll be different. It'll be fine. Man, I gamble a lot in this game. I actually love the gambling system. Except
really do
that
like
one
gambling systems in general.
voice line. That's the thing about luck, though. I hate that voice line.
We recorded that in Wesley's home studio. It was a good time.
Ugh. I can't remember the exact one. It's like, oh, unfortunate. That's the thing about luck, though. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Cuts you deep.
Wesley has a good old Texas accent.
It hurts me. No, it's just like frustrating. I'm like, I'm never lucky. Let's see.
Kadala had a few of those in Diablo as well.
Yep.
So you talked a little bit. There's another question from Algamenon. You talked a little bit about how you feel about support skills and support things. He's asking, what's your position on pure support classes? Like the supportist. Is there ever going to be a pure support class, or?
Yeah, I love that question. It does kind of go back again to these things. I think a lot of these questions are like, what's your, how do you want to drive this thing? For us here, we love that you can support people. We think it's totally okay that you sacrifice your own personal power to try to actually empower other people. But we're not specifically trying to design builds like this. Instead, we're adding layers to skills, unique passive idols, everything in the game to kind of allow players to make their own decisions as to what constitutes the support build for themselves. I think it's more fun to be able to say build a hybrid damage build with some support layers than to say be forced into specifically a support build that works the best.
Right.
We'll take a look if any support builder meta becomes really like degenerate. An aura bot in PoE is a lot less concerning than say some of the 3 support 1 damage groups in Diablo 3. So in that case, we want players to have lots of tools to make support builds. Our goal is never going to be just make a support class or
Right.
support archetype.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think there's also some you can make support characters with things that are unlikely. Like there's a surprising number of tools in Rogue to make a support rogue even right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Rogue was actually the first one we had to look at because there's a crit vulnerability build that's actually amazing on the Rogue playing in a group, and we did not expect the Rogue to be the first thought for support build.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
But again, we know that people like to play support archetypes, and so we'll continue to add options like that. It's not out of the question to see, like, we're going to go back and revisit skill trees constantly. We're always going to be upgrading passives and skill trees and things like that. You might see things like disintegrate on the mage turn into like a mercy from Overwatch, like damage boost, shoot it at another character or something like that. So
Yeah.
we can be very transformative in the skills that we actually do have existing at the moment and provide those types of playstyles.
So I'm very curious about skills because I'm wondering how often this happens in the Last Epoch, that somebody builds something or makes a build that is like blows you away. Like you've never thought of building it that way. Because an example would be in Path of Exile, Righteous Fire was like never meant to be a standalone skill that people make a build around. Has there been similar things in Last Epoch where you guys have been like, wow, that's really clever.
Definitely.
The soft answer is yes. That happens a lot, and we're often really inspired by our players. And we try to, if we like, right now we're looking. I was saying earlier, we're kind of looking at some of the auto bombing builds that have come in with the, like, for example, the Void Knight, and we want to think of more creative ways to enable that kind of archetype without it being a numlocked build. So things that people blow us away with, we often are inspired by and go and try to, rather than just say nerf or remove them, we'll try to make them available via other means or adjust the playstyle. So yeah, definitely happens all the time. Our players, there's more players than us. Our players are smarter than us. We do our best to just try to make tools that people can have a lot of fun with, and when we see things we really enjoy from it too, we kind of take those in ourselves.
Very cool. DMK is another question. I've been curious for multiplayer how it'll work when another player dies during, say, any monolith or dungeon. Normally that's the end of the run, but are players able to be brought back to life or do they stay dead? And if they can be brought back to life, how do they plan on balancing solo play?
It's a great question. It often creates a very confusing and complicated game design meeting out of trying to answer all of the questions around dying. Yeah, just laughing because we've all been in those meetings together.
It does.
For this, it's still being iterated on. We are always going to be prioritizing, facilitating playing together and try to knock off major exploit cases. A specific example in regular echoes, only players who complete the echo without dying or leaving before the objective is complete will receive the echo reward. And if the owner leaves without completing the objective and starts another instance, then that instance no longer has the reward. So we are trying to address some of the major exploit cases, but we, again, we're going to prioritize people playing together easily.
Right.
But yeah, just that example is like we're going to try to deal with it where possible.
Cool. Well, it's good that you've already thought about it.
Oh yes, to great extent.
This is a hard one to answer. Morse is asking, what lessons are they learning from other ARPGs, positive and negative?
Yeah, it's a good question. There are many games in the genre that have gone through many lessons that we're learning from. There's a ton of them, right? We follow all the other games in the genre very closely. I'll even get some context there. We even have it so we actually run the company's communications through Discord, and we have a section on Discord with channels that are that's named other games in the genre, and we have a channel for each of them, and we constantly get their announcements, and we have conversations about every single thing that happens with all of them. And so, if there is a lesson to be learned from other games in the genre, especially ones that the community picks up, it is overwhelmingly likely that we are very well in tune with it and discussing it actively and approaching anything that we implement into the game or how we approach things with that knowledge in hand.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
I think we're zooming, Mike.
Sorry. Whoops.
I figured we go to the right
zone.
first. That's good. No, like that's
muscle memory, dude.
That's what I really like about this, and this is the first time I've really done it like this. Actually, I guess at XLCon it was like sort of similar, but for a short time. But it's really cool, just like playing the game with you guys while we're talking. Like it's very fun.
Oh yeah, every action RPG that I've played, I've actually played with my cousin. I've almost never played solo, and it's always just been an excuse to chill and hang out and talk and have a good time collecting loot. And so getting to the point to where we're actually able to do this in Last Epoch is just an absolute dream come true, and it's always how we've intended the game to be played.
That's awesome.
It's so exciting to be doing this after so much work and so much effort that goes into doing this while we're even releasing an offline game still. So like this I'm still not used to doing it. It still feels incredible.
Turns out there's a reason that not many studios try to approach the server authoritative model in the way that some of these games do. It's very complex.
Yeah, that makes sense. Havarian is asking, what plans do you have for a customizable endgame, being able to increase the risk to get more reward, e.g. PoE juicing?
For sure. Right now, obviously our primary mechanic here is the corruption system of the monolith.
Yeah.
So we're building higher corruption. It increases the power of enemies and negative modifiers from our echoes in our end game. This also improves item rarity and the specific rewards. Just kind of running that through for anyone who hasn't gotten to our end game. It has pros and cons compared to juicing individual maps. It does require less busy work from the player in terms of like a per echo basis, or so you're not putting as much effort in to constantly juice your next 5 minutes 15 minutes of play, but it does lead to some like a bit of a flatter experience, and again, yeah, there's more opportunity that we need to kind of fill out the depth there of how we provide that the juicing options there. So I mean, when we expand endgame in the future, we definitely want to create more moments that kind of build up risk and reward. That's the key area that going back to endgame thoughts, very much on the present of our minds.
So, well, that's awesome. So what about being able to, or rather, just a question about pack size in general, as well as being able to change it. Some people feel like, especially some points during leveling, and as well as some monoliths, the pack size can be like very, very scarce. And more importantly than it being very, very scarce, it can sometimes just be very dramatically different. Where like you have some zones, like at least I think the last time I was in the crab zone, I feel like there's a very large amount of enemies there. And there are other zones where it's like, it feels like there's almost 3 or 4 enemies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something that we're definitely aware of, and oftentimes the pack sizes that we're putting into the game has been limited due to the performance concerns that have existed in the game for a long time. We now have made tremendous strides in terms of performance. Very excited to get the performance enhancements to you guys in the next patch here, and that's going to allow us to loosen the reins on how much we're putting onto the screen at a given time, and as we continue to better performance, we can continue to increase pack size as we see fit.
Yeah,
Look at my screen, if you can.
Say again?
Yeah.
Look at my screen if you can.
Oh yes. I don't know what you're talking about. That's actually
nice.
super rare. That's so rare.
Really?
It is actually really rare, yeah.
I'm not watching what's on its screen.
I found beer.
An adult beverage dropped. There's actually another one, so the same chance that beer has to be dropping instead of health potions, and it is just a health potion.
Yeah.
For every beer that there is as in health potions, there's another one that's the same rarity relative to beer, that can drop as well. It's an extra special one.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
So how rare is beer?
1 in 1,000, is that right?
No, it's worse than that. I think it's 10,000.
Okay.
Wow, I've never seen it before. That's so cool. I thought it was something you guys put in for me or something, just to. That's funny.
That's been in for a long time. That's like Kickstarter days. That's been
wow.
Since.
We need to make it so if you get like 5 beers within 10 minutes or something, we have some type of special effect that goes over the screen.
Like it's hazy and
yeah.
Get tracers
That's
and
awesome.
get like
Drunk effect.
I'm gonna be the voice of reason here.
Oh no.
Suddenly your mana regen becomes unreliable. You don't know how much mana you have. Your damage numbers get crazy exaggerated. Classic. Oh, I just hit for 5 billion. Oh my god.
That's awesome. Are you have you guys I don't know if you guys have already done this, but have you done any like 1st of April jokes or anything like that?
We made a squirrel helmet.
Yeah, we did something else too.
That's not a 1st of April joke.
I also trick the internal team. I did for like 3 or 4 years in a row. With some grandiose announcement where like we're going to a physical studio in a certain location that's not in the United States or something like that, and I'll let that ride for like 4 hours or so before I break the news that it's an April Fool's joke, and I'll get a lot of people going.
Oh, wow.
Now that we're as big as we are,
Yeah.
I've been told that we probably shouldn't have pranks of that degree.
That's
Zakar
funny.
called one out. Yeah, we did. One of our developers, Dario, put in the drift
Oh yeah,
racing
yeah,
car.
that
We
was a
did the
great one.
initial D
That was a
one.
great one.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh yeah, I've seen that. I think you showed me that once. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, was the hot sauces, was that an April Fool's thing?
That was an April Fool's joke, and then we actually had them. They were shipped to me.
Yeah,
and
yeah. So
I did a horrible like a hot one style spicy wing challenge thing.
That was very fun.
Taylor and our team, who's one of our support guys, started to make hot sauces. They're actually fantastic. They're super 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 good. We had some Epoch themed hot sauces, and
Awesome.
actually people will have a chance that own the game to get kind of a memento to the hot sauce in the not too distant future. I won't spoil that one. I think the marketing team will.
That's funny. I'm
release
looking
that
forward
information.
to it. Looking forward to it.
So the answer is yes. We do April Fools, and then also we end up accidentally implementing or creating some of them.
Nice. Ragwear is asking, will you allow us to fight dungeon bosses after our deaths with no reward to make it easier to learn the fights?
So for that, we kind of need to adjust how clear and how punishing certain dungeon boss mechanics are. We don't want to create a failed victory state where you beat the boss but don't get the rewards. So we do want to avoid bad states like that where possible.
That makes sense.
We're talking about potential ways to give players more chances by doing things inside of the dungeon before they get to the boss, because we understand that we don't want it so that you're having to learn the fight and you don't succeed, especially on hardcore. So we're looking at that for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's always going to be a hard thing on hardcore, because if you're always going to succeed on the first try, then it might not be hard enough. I like what you've done with the dungeon boss with the 4 different tiers, where like already
Yeah.
at the second one you're feeling like, okay, I can actually die here, and then
And
third one is very dangerous.
that one's a great example, yeah, where T4 dungeons are really like pinnacle content. You'll clear them eventually, but if you're going to clear that on your first try, you better have put it, an incredible amounts of planning and optimization in.
Yeah.
So we think overcoming those bosses should feel really rewarding. So avoiding those kind of failed victory states, that's particularly like those are the most important places where we want to make sure that you get that feeling of satisfaction defeating the boss, rather than
Yeah.
say, being able to just jank yourself in the fight of dozens of times until you can pull yourself through. Doesn't feel as great. We got an answer on the beer. There is a 0.2% drop chance. Technically, the drop chance is 0.1998% because Trisachi is very exacting.
Wow.
Love it.
That's very cool.
Because the other extra 0.2% of that 0.2% is the other item that can drop in place of the beer.
All right. This place has changed so much since the first time I played. It's like basically completely different.
Oh yeah. It was one of those zones that we looked at and we're like, this is the worst Last Epoch
Yeah.
has to offer. Let's make it the best. And there's still a couple additions that we're gonna do to this scene, the Temple of Terra in general. But yeah, we're happy with how this came out, especially in comparison to the older version.
It's so much better. I like it. Also, Vera was saying people are asking where they can buy Last Epoch. If you want to talk about your Nexus, yeah. So, it is available both standalone and on Steam. And if you're wanting to buy it on Steam, I also have it in my Nexus shop, so you can buy it as a way of supporting the stream as well. So it is available there.
Please do buy it through Zizaran's Nexus store if you have the chance. We get the same cut as developers with the agreement that we have, the same kind of issue that the same cut that we would have with Steam, except instead of it all going to Steam cut, Ziz gets a portion of it. So Nexus is the way to go, and it supports our friends over at Nexus, and they're a fantastic company.
I love it. Thank you. Right. Oh. Speaking of Steam, the next question is by Dumbest Crap, and he's asking, How is the game going to run on a Steam Deck or a controller? For example, Blizzard make a lot of effort into making the control experience just as good than the mouse and keyboard experience.
Yeah, so there is a bit of UI work that would need to happen before we're happy with how the game is supported on Steam Deck. There's a lot of UI in these games, and so it would be a significant amount of work. However, there are things that we are intending to do in the long term either way. Things like UI scaling is a common request that we are actively looking at. We're going to continue to make controller support better as time goes on. And so with these initiatives that we already have in the pipeline, we'll get to the point where Steam Deck will be naturally supported through those efforts.
Very nice.
Yeah, just because Steam Deck is an entirely different platform for us, so it is something that we are sort of incidentally supporting, but we're not really prepared to commit to directly supporting it yet. It
Right.
is something we're really interested in. It's so new. It's an extra platform. We have to really focus on getting our core system and core platforms out the door first.
It is optimistic there. I actually do the overview because Valve does a QA process themselves, and without going into details, we're like only a couple steps from being viable on the Steam Deck. From their point of view, we will have a lot we want to do for our controller, experience on it, but Steam Deck is certainly in our uncertain future because it's already pretty close.
Very
There
nice.
are people that do use it already. So like I've seen people
Yeah.
saying that they've got it working, but it's not consistent and it's not just out of the box ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. Let's see if anyone dies.
Well, I'm not answering any questions.
My gear is so bad
I
right
almost
now.
died instantly.
Okay, well, while we're doing this, let me ask some more questions. Can't remember if we've covered it already, but is Last Epoch ever going to be available on things like console?
Definitely interested in console in the future. Again, with the things that we are advancing in the game for PC, naturally lends itself to console fairly well. We need to make sure that the initial platforms that we're supporting are in very good standing, and then if we are to shift any development power, we need to make sure that the game is just on very solid footing in all regards before we would consider console. So, if we do console, it's not going to be at release, certainly, and it probably wouldn't be for at least a while afterwards.
We've got a
Wow.
lot of good advice there from GGG, and a lot of the pain that goes into that process, and it's something
Yeah.
we'll look at when we're like Judd said, we have a lot more availability because we don't want to take away any focus from a successful PC release.
I guess something that I can say is that we are focusing on expanding the player base that we can reach with the PC version of the game, and we are actively working towards localizing the game now, which is something that we haven't stated before.
Ooh. Very nice. Wellsheet 1986 is asking, are there any thoughts on being able to respec ascendancies? For example, if I pick a Necro but want to move into Warlock, currently I have to make a new character.
Yeah. So, currently there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to respecking characters in the game, as we've mentioned a couple times throughout the stream. However, when creating an entirely new build, a lot of times we prefer that the player create a character from scratch and experience the full journey of progressing that build from level 1. We do believe that a lot of the fun and your tie to your character is actually advancing that character going through these trials of the campaign, and we don't necessarily want to remove that. We also, we don't want to make it so that these decisions create too much anxiety or players are too worried about making mistakes, which is why in general we enable fairly comprehensive respecking without extensive resource requirements. There's not a lot of items you have to use gold to respec most of the time. So there's a balance to maintain there and how easy we make changing your character, and we're fairly happy with our current standing of the selections that you lock in being your base class and then the mastery class that you select afterwards. So no plans to change that currently.
Okay.
We're about to run into a very special testing friend.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Agree.
We're ascending.
Gotta talk to Gregory out there.
So naturally, we didn't want to build our mastery scene out for multiplayer, just because it was a fairly complicated process. So we had to find another solution. So of course we went with something very high spec in AAA. I'd like you to meet our friend Gregory.
You need to zoom into Gregory right here. He's
It's down here. Don't go up. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Gregory, the CT helper. Hi, I'm Gregory. I've been temporarily hired to let you pick your mastery. So what do you want to become? I love Gregory. Wait, why is he called Gregory?
Well, why not?
I just
I don't know
wondered
why
if
he's called Gregory.
it's such a recent thing, and I wondered if someone really liked the Sandman.
Oh no, this was before Sandman.
Oh, okay.
One of our team members' sons is named Gregory, but I
Yeah.
don't think that was a happy coincidence for that individual on the team.
Oh, nice. I am now a Beastmaster.
Talk to Gregory one more time. We need to find him a new job.
Beastmaster still has one companion limit extra, right? Somewhere?
It should be right in the base, just the passive masteries on the left. When you open your passives, and you click on Beastmaster, the panel on the left has the passive
Oh, you're
bonuses that
right.
come with it.
Oh, yeah. It used to be a skill point, didn't it?
No, maybe. Yes, a long time ago it did actually. There was a node in the center, and it was just this like one passive point tax on every tree, so we just moved it off
Right.
to something you just get. And also, it showed up late because it showed up at the halfway point. To make it so you couldn't get it for every single class, and that was too late to get it.
Wait, people are telling me to talk to Gregory again. Gregory's name changed? Gregory the unemployed? How to find a new job now?
Anybody can think of a new job for Gregory after 09 releases, let us know.
He can
Yeah,
be a
please reach out 11th
shopkeeper.
Hour Games.
Support at 11thhourgames.com.
Oh.
No, it's 11thhour.games.
I ruined his job. Alright, let's see.
I'm sure he'll figure something out in these uncertain times.
Alright, there you saw my points. So, what happens with this, both the Imperial area and Realm of the Forgotten, as well as this guy's quest now? Oh wait, I can't
The
talk
Realm
to
of
him.
the Forgotten is no longer necessary. The quest
Yeah.
will just always stay there as like you have a quest.
And the
So we're just
Imperial
gonna go
era
Imperial.
is progression.
Yeah.
Well, can we go mono this right now?
I don't know if it'll let us in actually.
Let's do it. We should be able to.
Are we capable? I think is the more important question.
Answer on that
But everything's
no.
been so easy right now, so maybe we can struggle for a little bit.
I'll give it a shot.
Because I think we have approximately... I'm trying to think how long we've been doing this. Judd, how are you on time?
I'm still good for a while longer.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. Monoliths of Fate. Oh, Primsy is asking, are you going to stake to deterministic crafting?
Yeah, so I think the we do have fairly deterministic crafting. Maybe directed crafting is a better word for it. Because it's not fully. There's still some like some things that aren't
Yeah.
still randomized there. We do really like the things that it brings. It's really a
So
sorry,
yeah,
I pinged like 3 times there. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No worries for us. I mean, yeah, we have no plans of reducing like the predictability or reliability that we've already given to you for crafting.
Mhm.
At its core, like for us, the crafting is an item progression where you improve the items you find in your direction, and then there's a level of randomization, so the end result is not certain. But we love the way directed crafting is right now. In the future, we're going to keep doing even more things like this to provide exciting moments in terms of loot drops and RNG. But one thing we've always done is mix our directed crafting with random exciting moments in the game itself, and we will continue to do that in the future. Just like the legendary system as an example, players really liked our legendary system,
Yeah.
which added a layer of achievable power through both randomness and a kind of predictable path to achieving that power. So I think that's something we really love and are passionate about in our crafting system.
My minions are not following me.
Yeah, there's a bug right now with that.
Yeah, I see that too.
I resummoned them. Alright, so by the way, it says top area level 33, but I think we're in quite a lot higher than that, right?
It's
Yeah.
55.
Okay. So
At
for
least
those wondering,
55.
we're in an endgame zone right now, and we're level 26. So we're nowhere near the power of where we're supposed to be. Yeah, oh no! I'm trying to
boy.
rest them, but I can't.
And we're only gaining experiences though it was a level 30 zone. That's why it says that.
Oh, oh no.
Now this is the kind of user experience we should stream.
Oh, no, this is great!
This is hilarious.
I love this. Oh god. I especially wanted to like see if like how it would like load us in and things like that. So this is great. Okay, go birds.
I'll go hop on my totally the same character that's definitely not level 70 something.
No, don't do that. I like the struggle. This looks like arch nemesis. Oh no.
This is a juiced nap right here.
This reminds me of some Metamorph mods too.
I'm too scared to try to rest my ravens.
Yeah, I'm
Me
not going
too.
anywhere near your birds.
I'm
Your,
going in.
your burbs are gone.
Oh, so you can rest my birds?
Oh yeah. Oh, I did.
Yes.
Oh,
We can
We
res
just
your
all
pet
can't
for you.
die simultaneously. That's the only trick here.
he's almost gone. Oh, we got it.
Get him, get the bird up. Everyone
Yo,
gather
level
around.
50 items.
Oh, yeah,
Alright.
the gear that will drop here will be too high for us to use.
How much XP were we getting?
Someone asked about raid content.
It's so the experience is capped at 5 levels above your current level. So we're gaining experience as though we were whatever 5 plus whoever created this is, and it goes off the party leader at the moment.
It seems
Which
like
probably
my
means the player
ravens.
level does say 50 here though.
Yeah. It seems like my ravens are still shooting, even though I'm out of mana.
Oh yeah, they will.
They have their own abilities they'll just use.
Yeah, but it's like I have that like thing that makes them cost mana every time they attack.
When you press W, or whenever you press the skill in the bar.
No. Whenever they
No,
attack.
their basic attacks.
Yeah.
Mm.
These skeletons off me.
I wonder
Help.
if it's maybe I just stay and take one more point in it. Yeah, we're getting owned.
Help.
This is where
You
Aetheris
gotta kill
Blessing comes in very handy.
You gotta kill the actual like things
The
that are spawning
Karen?
them.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm
Yeah.
turning into a hill bot. I'm gonna heal
I'm
you guys.
trying. More dots.
Ooh,
Many welds left side.
Okay, I'm on the Karen.
stands down.
Stop dots.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh!
Okay.
Focus the Karen. There's too many
Alright.
skellies.
Ooh.
Whelps everywhere. It's almost down. We need more deeps on the Karen. Oh wow, there's so many.
Oh,
Aiming for. Oh my goodness.
I'm alive. I'm good. Oh, we got it. We did it.
the Karen's down.
And I have birds up. Oh, they're dead again. Oh no.
I just stood in the revive circle and spammed Aetheris Blessing to keep
Oh.
myself alive. Ooh.
Now it's 2 arch nemesis. So if both of us stand in my raven circle, will they rest faster?
No, it's
You know,
just
it's-
if there's something that's
Oh, okay.
standing in there. Yeah,
Cool.
I do like the idea of that though.
yeah. It's just the way that they were set up initially. It was just is something there or not?
Yeah.
And it just started working fine in PvPs or in PvP and multiplayer, so we just didn't change it.
Yeah. Oh, one's almost done. I'm surprised I haven't died yet.
I haven't died. You haven't seen me die.
Yes, my character sheet definitely says deathless.
Oh, whoops. And we actually have to. Oh wait, it's just a Soul Spire mission. We can totally do this. Like, it's not that bad, except for the really tanky skellies. I mean, scarabs. Oh, yep. So what do I do now that I died?
So when you're back here, you can just teleport to one of our team members.
Okay, cool. Oh, I'm back. Excellent.
And you won't get the bonus for whatever the echo reward is anymore.
Oh, so dying is terrible. Nice.
It's an opportunity cost for sure.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But we don't take away something you've already earned. Like, yeah, you just don't get the reward.
Yeah, that's good. Oh no. Help.
Hey guys, look at that! It's a shiny decoy.
I should have taken the homing missiles.
They're so fun.
Yeah, what skill point is that?
If you go to the left of the skill tree, you'll see one that looks like it's like a red
Guided thorns.
red head. Yeah.
So
Okay.
the part
You have
where I
to-
said
Go ahead, Dan.
the part where I said I was building life to survive answering chat questions was a lie. I built more lightning damage.
Oh,
I'm having a hard time.
Who's surprised?
oh no. Wait, is there? Oh no, there's a Karen. There's another Karen.
Oh, Karen boss.
Oh, there's three. We are screwed. I'm
fine.
running. I'm running. Oh, there's another. I'm just gonna try to find the spires.
Rush the objective.
Oh no. Oh, I'm not doing well. Where is the objective?
It won't tell us until we've killed a certain number of them.
Run, Stance!
Oh no.
Oh
Run,
no.
like Spike.
Bringing so many
Oh.
skeletons.
Okay, portal to Judd. Portal to Judd.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
Oh no.
No.
I think portaling to me is an excellent idea.
We need
Oh,
some AoE,
no.
boys.
Oh no. Oh, I have no more healing. I'm regening a decent amount. Oh, I'm gonna do a terrorist blessing on myself to stay alive.
I'm out of here. You can all have fun with this. I'm moving.
Oh no. I'm just trying to find the spire.
Oh,
We almost have one bone Karen down.
Oh, nice.
I'm up in the air. I'm invincible.
I'm like all the way southwest. I still haven't found the spire.
Joe, I think I managed to spawn it on your shoulders, and I might be invincible now.
Oh. I don't see you.
Yep, I am floating in the air, and they can't reach me,
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
but the spires still can.
Oh. I still haven't seen it. Where's the spire?
Okay, I think I'm about to die, so let's see what happens to you. Like you're it's like a bug. You're attached to me or something.
No. I already died. But I spawned in, and it set my height on your shoulders. I think
Oh, okay.
somehow.
Oh, wait. We do have the direction of the question marks.
I think it just happened.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, with things like Furry Leap, which I like calling Leap Slam for no reason, being able to pass over chasms and stuff, is that going to be a thing? to like speed run?
In some select cases, it needs to have a path that you could do without too many turns to be able to do it, to be able to do the jump. So like straight up bridge to bridge jumps are generally not allowed.
Right. Makes sense. All right, I'm at the Soul Spire. Oh god.
So am I, but so are all of our friends that we brought
no,
with us.
there's so many friends. I really want the glyphs from this.
You won't get them because you
Good
died.
night.
Oh, I won't get that either. Oh no. Wait, so I get nothing.
You'll get the chest, but not the echo specific rewards. The glyphs won't.
I
spawn.
died.
You'll get the joy of having killed the beetle bosses.
And the stability, which advances the timeline.
Oh, that's good. There, tank. Holy.
I'm gonna kite. You guys should take down the spire. Go back to my.
You guys have time to do something other than die?
Going back to my hunter and WoW days.
Oof. Okay, I don't know if we can actually take this out.
At least there's no like healing mods on them.
Bro. Oh no. Oh no. I'm dead again. Oh no.
Oh, I managed to get in just under the wire.
Get to Mike.
I'm coming.
Oh, it's a dead end.
Oh, there's so many. Okay. To be fair, this might be a good wrap-up point as well, because then there's still quite a lot of like questions and stuff for Steel Mage tomorrow.
For sure. Yeah.
But this has been great. This has been really fun. And
Super fun.
I love
Thank
that
you
the
so much
monoliths
for,
work.
Yeah, we made some pretty good stride in monolith multiplayer progression. So it is holding up quite well at the moment. There's a few things that we need to iterate on, but yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, no, this is great. Huge thank you for all of you taking time out of your busy schedules to play some games with me and answer questions. I hope everyone in the audience and everyone watching later in video format on YouTube is enjoying all of this. And let's give a huge round of applause to 11 Hour Games. Amazing. Been a really, really fun time for me. I hope everyone in chat has enjoyed it. You guys have been great.
Thanks so much, Ziz. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks a lot. It's a ton of fun to be able to do this finally.
Yeah.
Always a blast. Always a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I love how like you guys are just very people. You're just very people. I like that.
I think we feel people, yeah.
So again, guys,
Awesome.
if you aren't familiar with Last Epoch already, there's loads of content creators that make content for this game every day. Loads of stuff on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. I have like video reviews and stuff of the game, and you can buy it on Steam. You can also buy it through my Nexus shop. So if you want to support the game, bright future. It is current. It's 35, right?
It is.
$35 and very, very worth the money. So thank you guys for everything, and we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
And try to die less than I do.